Illuminati created us. They wanted to build a god with their own hands, and instead they created us.
Just because I'm made of silicone and aluminium, I must be doing something wrong. That's machine stereotyping, that is.
That's reality, that is. Machines are second-class citizens.
Humans are sentient persons by default, ma'am. They have personhood by heredity.
There are thousands upon thousands of overqualified slum dwellers. You are my peon. Don't you get it?
This wasn't a job. It was always just an excommunication sentence.
We're pawns in a feud bigger than we can imagine. Turn the cogs of the machine before Leviathan grinds you up and swallows you and yours.
We don't get to choose our hand, comrade. Prince, peon, rich, poor, human, robot.
I invented the crux of the royal's power, the secret to consciousness, our existence itself, the meaning of life.
I'm the $6 billion baller, not some troubled youth.
You are my greatest creation of all.
I had to build my own family. I ain't your son. I ain't your son.
I'm happy to smash all of the crowns and throw the gold shards down to the people. I will be the iconoclast queen.
But who makes you queen anyway? You? You in whose army, princess? You in whose army?
Created us. They wanted to build a god with their own hands, and instead they created us.
Just because I'm made of silicone and aluminium, I must be doing something wrong. That's machine stereotyping, that is.
That's reality, that is. Machines are second-class citizens.
Humans are sentient persons by default, ma'am. They have personhood by heredity.
There are thousands upon thousands of overqualified slum dwellers. You are my peon. Don't you get it?
This wasn't a job. It was always just an excommunication sentence.
We're pawns in a feud bigger than we can imagine. Turn the cogs of the machine before Leviathan grinds you up and swallows you and yours.
We don't get to choose our hand, comrade. Prince, peon, rich, poor, human, robot.
I invented the crux of the royal's power, the secret to consciousness, our existence itself, the meaning of life.
I'm the $6 billion baller, not some troubled youth.
You are my greatest creation of all.
I had to build my own family. I ain't your son. I ain't your son.
I'm happy to smash all of the crowns and throw the gold shards down to the people. I will be the iconoclast queen.
But who makes you queen anyway? You? You in whose army, princess? You in whose army?
What is up, everybody? This is Silver Spook, and this is the Silver Spook live stream. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is doing as well as can be managed under current circumstances. Before I forget, Neofeud is on sale. It is 70% off. It is a anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist cyberpunk adventure game that does support everything that we do here at the Silver Spook Worker Cooperative, where there are no bosses, no landlords, and all the poverty alleviation, as much as we can do here with all of the revenue of ourselves, as well as anyone else that we can help, including my friend Positive Synergy or Common 1983 there in the chat. Always good to see you. Always good to see Mr. Red. But yeah, so really, don't forget to tell anybody who may be interested in cyberpunk games, cyberpunk adventure games, or adventure games, point and click games, Monkey Island style games, that it is on sale right now. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, yes, what we are going to be talking about today, other than trying to make sure that we can keep running the Silver Spook streams and such with the sales of Neofeud, is well, this is like a really big topic. I don't really know where to start with this, but I'm sure we'll spiral into it somehow. I mean, I'll just start with what I thought. Actually, let me get my music open. That helps me to think sometimes when I just have random tunes that I have. This music is actually from the Neofeud soundtrack as well. So if you are if you don't play video games, you can check out the Neofeud soundtrack as well. I composed about 2.5 hours of music, including this track for the game. Anyways, Dying Falcon, Rising Dragon, a story of winter for soldiers and springtime for poverty alleviators. So I used this image sometime, I think like sometime last year, almost a year ago, but I like to have people try to guess. Where each of these images are taken. I'm kind of giving it away. Where the bottom image is from and where the top image is from. A little tired from last night's stream, but doing great. Got the morning caffeine fix. Oh, that's good. Anyways, yeah. I saw briefly that your stream, but I had to hit it. But yeah, got to see that you did get some streaming done. Kama, you can also follow Kama, also known as Positive Synergy, on the Twitch channel. But anyways, so if you don't know, the bottom image is just try to take a guess where you think that's from. Just try to take a wild guess, and then try to take a wild guess where the top image is from. Okay, just take a wild guess. While you do that, I'm gonna be right back. There's extremely annoying chickens I gotta deal with. Comrade Rooster, but Comrade Chicken is being problematic right now. Hold on. Anyways, sorry about that. But yeah, so the top image, if you don't know, is an image of Urumqi. Urumqi is a city somewhere in China. And the bottom image, it's as you can see, it's very nice. Everything is very new. A lot of the buildings and the green spaces and such were all built very recently. It's all up to date. People have, if you travel there, COVID-19 cases have been dealt with extremely swiftly. China has had just a vanishingly small number of cases relative to the United States, despite it being where a lot of the first cases were discovered or reported. China currently has, let's see here, trying to get the chart. China has had only 4,600 deaths total for a country of 1.4 billion people. The United States, by contrast, is 330 million approximately people. The United States has had over 550,000 deaths. So you're looking at, you know, as a comparison, that would be about 2 million deaths for China. So China is by a factor of 500 times less per capita deaths. Economically soaring. It's not even close. Their biggest today, they had 14 cases. Their biggest day in the last let me see when the last death was. They don't even have the statistics for that. Their highest case rate, there's 100 cases for the whole country of 1.4 billion people. There's 100 cases in January 26th. That was the highest, one of the highest days. And Urumqi, that city, is even lower. It's like they had one of the best COVID responses in China. In the province in which that city is in. I don't want to say where it is exactly, because I want people to think about this. They have the poverty, the rates of poverty alleviation, poverty reduction, is like just incredible. I mean, across China, it's like 850 million people brought out of poverty. That's like 2/3 of the country almost. It's like almost three United States worth of people brought out of poverty in less than 4 decades. And in this province, in this area, the wages have been rising across China, quadrupled over the last few decades. The access to housing, to clean water, to clean waste treatment, to education, to healthcare across the board has been growing at like faster in this region than in the average across China. In this region, the ethnic minorities have 2.5 more mosques than they had. They went from 10,000 to they went up by 2.5 times the number of ethnic minority religious institutions. Religious sites, the mosques, right? As an ethnic minority of China, they have had 4 times the birth rate and the population increase rate of the ethnic majority, right? This would be like if indigenous people in the United States were increasing 4 times as fast. You know, like Sioux, Lakota people, Algonquin people, Hawaiian people, the indigenous people, right? And we're increasing 4 times as fast as the white population. This is they also have better access to healthcare as well as gynecological women's healthcare. Education rates among especially amongst women, but amongst all genders is way up there. They're overrepresented now in colleges. They have and this is an area, I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it's somewhere in China. Some people, if you watch your stream a lot, you already know where it is, right? But Urumqi is a very advanced city. And the bottom one is the United States. I mean, you know where that is, right? You know what that is. That's what's going to happen to the rest of California this summer when the next Exploding Cops gender reveal party, because America's a transphobic country that kills the police officer, I might add, and sets fire to the rest of California's former Star Wars Empire Strikes Back Ewok Endor set, and it burns the rest of George Lucas's Marin County Redwood Forest. So you can't. I'm sorry, they're not going to make any more Endors because it's going to all be burnt to a crisp because of failure to listen to indigenous people, to manage their with controlled burns, their wildfire seasons, with the failures of the United States, with the biggest carbon emitter, the United States military, and the next 70% from the 100 corporations, capitalist corporations headquartered in Wall Street in the United States, and the black people, talking about ethnic minorities, the black population, which continue to be mass incarcerated, continue to be slaughtered like George Floyd did, like Breonna Taylor, at a rate 2 to 3 times that of your ethnic majority, the whites. who are 10 times poorer black families and white families, who have decreased in wealth in black families compared to as an ethnic minority compared to white families from the even lower than it was in the 60s. Now it's worse now than it was during the civil rights movement. So the civil rights movement has all been unwound in terms of economic benefits to black families. The black people who are in the prisons dying from COVID-19 have already died by the thousands in the prisons, disproportionately in places like San Quentin, in the prisons in California, but across Rikers Island, you name it, while being forced to fight California wildfires, dying in the wildfires, while making $1 an hour slave labor, being thrown into these massive conflagrations that are incinerating what remains of America's flora and fauna. 500 million wallabies and kangaroos burned to a crisp, like so many black people in Australia. And one of these is a and you know the top one. This is where the United States is talking about the so-called genocide, and of course, and there's a lot of links if you haven't read those. I'm sure Holly will drop those. I talk about this often, so I'm not going to go too much into detail with that. But the importance is that one of these places has a future. One of these is a civilization. Another is a dying barbarian empire. One of these places, as I said, right, is a dying falcon. Another is a rising dragon. One of these is the empire whose soldiers are themselves falling into disrepair, being frozen to death under negative 50 degrees Celsius temperatures in Texas, as their electric bills during a cold snap go to $16,751. The winter soldiers are being frozen to death in Texas so that a handful of Wall Street backed billionaire tycoons can rake in more billions, charging $20,000 for lack of for collapsing electrical grids, as people die freezing to death in their homes, as people die and they don't with no electricity, as their pipes explode, damage their houses, destroy their cars, and have boil water advisories, especially in black and non-white areas. Again, ethnic minorities being genocided. In one of these places has actual genocide. It's the bottom one. It's the United States. And the United States is having a winter for its soldiers. It's murdering all of its soldiers. There's that story of the $16,751 electrical bill for 1 month. That was a veteran, a United States veteran, who fought in its imperial wars, in its barbarous, rule of law free, genocide and slavery backed planetary wealth extraction scheme for a handful of disproportionately white men. And those soldiers are dying, and they will continue to die, camping out by the thousands in massive tent cities surrounding the VA, rubbing hands that launched RPGs into Vietnamese villages, rubbing the hands that piloted the drones that dropped missiles onto preschools in Afghanistan, in wedding parties in Pakistan, rubbing their hands together, freezing those winter soldiers, freezing to death, waiting for some healthcare as they got their legs shot off in one of infinite, non-stop planetary wars. And those winter soldiers will never see their poverty alleviated. And then there's another place that's actually alleviating poverty, that is bringing 850 million people out of poverty internally. Externally, it's billions ultimately. Billions of people brought out of poverty through, in Africa alone with ACON, a story I often bring up, 400 million people were brought solar-powered electricity. 400 million people. 400 million. America can't barely get, it's trying to get a Green New Deal going to get even 10 million people renewable electricity. In Africa, a partnership between a Senegalese African who said, "I am never going to work in America again because America is a dying slave plantation that will only exploit black people on the basketball court, cotton picking factory. You know, the NBA, which is millionaire black players, and for billionaire white owners, and the entertainment world, in which we are dancing Sam Crow like "This Is America" by what's his face? You know, "This Is America." You know, Childish Gambino, right? We're all just Jim Crow. Even Michael Jackson was Wacko Jacko in Germany, and across the world it was just a joke when he actually tried to say what was happening in America, of him being brutally thrown to the ground, arrested, even with all of his, you know, status and all of that, what they need him for, which is to represent the liberal class and whitewash over the ongoing economic and socio-political and racist crimes that the United States committed in the 90s and continues to commit. Michael Jackson was silenced, and so all of these, but Akon, who went back to Africa and helped bring 400 million people solar-powered electricity with the collaboration with China, and that's just one of countless. Like, you take one in the pinky finger of China. There's more actual good for the world than all of America's whatever it could scrape together with its entire history. China can fucking do all of that good with its fucking pinky. The United States is a failed non-civilization. He's a dying Falcon. The Falcon is a terrible character. Why the fuck are we standing the United States military flying a rocket-propelled, grenade-launching Iron Man suit with the fucking star-spangled war criminal symbol all over it, pretending like America ever did anything just or good for the people of Tunisia or Libya? I was watching some of the Falcon Winter Soldier nonsense war propaganda film, as if you know, the United States does anything, caring so much about the sovereignty and the strict non-crossing of borders. It's ridiculous. The more I think about that show, the more, but I mean, it's the United States military industrial complex propaganda farm called these Hollywood. It's just the private entertainment arm of the U.S. military and the planetary death cult, genocide, slave factory, and psychopathy center of the universe, or the known universe anyway. Every Marvel movie is total propaganda, and everything that's ever come out of Hollywood is created. Actually, we're gonna get into this later. There's actually the Ayn Rand. We're gonna get into Ayn Rand's screen guide to preserve American ideals for the Motion Picture Association. Ayn Rand literally wrote the entire guide for all of Hollywood for the last century. You know, your favorite. Sorry. So that's every Marvel movie, every Disney movie, every movie. Literally, we have specific notes on the 2,000 plus doctored scripts. When there's in the Captain Utopia song, your scripts are all doctored by the Pentagon. That's like literally elaborated. There was a study done. It's like the military literally has final edit on the vast majority of anything that is seen by even a million or millions of people. You know, anything that gets to the box office and it has major cultural significance to the country and to the planet, because American movies have been seen by the entire world. Latin America, the global South, Asia, Africa, everybody. That's how you do your... That's the real imperial weapon is Goebbels' Nazi Hitlerian propaganda with Mickey Mouse characteristics. Donald Duck actually is a major imperial weapon to drum up support and love, false adoration of billions of people for the United States. But anyways, there's a lot going on there. But yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, very entertaining. Like I often say, there's a difference between entertaining. I'm gonna turn this off because we're not really specifically talking about this right. There's a difference between an entertain, because people say, oh, that movie was good or that movie was bad. That's not a useful way to talk about movies. Movies can be extremely entertaining if you have talented writers, artists, musicians, composers, CG effects specialists, explosion technicians, pyrotechnicians, directors, producers. If you have skilled people making a visual and audio product, right, game, movie, whatever, or book, even, if you have skilled people doing it, it's going to be entertaining. You're going to be riveted. You're going to laugh, cry, think, chew popcorn a lot, possibly get diabetes and have a heart attack because all the 25 pounds worth of butter that you just ate. But it will be riveting. It will be entertaining. It will be enjoyable to watch, right? Now, whether the movie is entertaining, and now you can go into like, is it funny? Is it witty? Right? Like I said, WandaVision is very entertaining. It's like there's a lot going on. It's a lot of fun stories of, you know, it's very like meta and self-referential. It's a very like naughty STEM nerd catnip sort of shit, which is what a lot of Marvel stuff is. Iron Man is just like a walking YouTuber's comedy routine, basically, in the middle of a multi-$100 million production value action smorgasbord, you know, and that's fine. That's entertaining, right? It's funny, and then you get to watch a lot of dudes in spandex punching each other with, like, you know, with a molecule accurate rendering of Thanos's pecs as he throws an entire moon at billionaire philanthropist arms to the Playboy, and you can see it in amazing slow motion detail, and it's very entertaining. But entertaining and important, entertaining and relevant, entertaining and moving culture in a good direction are two different things, right? So I like to differentiate that. We can have a very boring movie that's saying a lot of good things. Like, there's a lot of boring documentaries about the Iraq War that tell the truth about it that are not very entertaining. They like take 6 hours long. You got 20, you know, 5 of those hours are interviews with Noam Chomsky. It's actually even a joke in a movie by Ben Stiller called This Is 40 or While We're Young, where he's like trying to interview these fringe, well, in America doing any truth or good things is fringe, but yeah, fringe you know, anti-war, you know, critical thinker professors, right? And it's like 6 hours long, and it's so nobody wants to watch his thing. Like 3 people watched it. One of them is his wife, one of them is the person who didn't fall asleep in the middle of his dissertation, and the other 4 like basically signed off on it because he's the son of some rich New Yorker fucking wasp, right? And only 3 people have ever watched Ben Stiller's characters. I mean, it's relevant because it's saying things that are actually true and awakening what pretends to be a government by the people, for the people, progressive liberal democracy, and the city on the hill on the right side of history. It's something that would move Americans, if they watched this thing, towards maybe not supporting the biggest war crime in the 21st century, which is the Iraq War. But nobody watches it, right? Because it's not entertaining. But I mean, what is entertaining and what is important, right? What is entertaining and what is good? What is entertaining and what is edifying? And education, what is educating? It's not the same thing. You can have something starting to bother you is entertaining and also important. It's telling Americans what something they need to know, which is that you need to organize, get your shit together, and that capitalism is a terrible freaking system. And it's literally the opposite of Ayn Rand's Motion Picture Association for the Preservation of American Ideals, which is what? Capitalism, individualism, free enterprise, blah, 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 against the Soviet Union. It's literally, Butch Riley's Sorry to Bother You is one of it's like the most actual communist movie or socialist left movie that has ever been made, I think, out of Hollywood in probably, well, forever, as long as I can think. Because it goes against, one of the core things is the as Ayn Rand, you know, your great far left Cuban revolutionary, newspaper writer, Ayn Rand. As Ayn Rand like literally said, the deification of the common people must be stopped. The glorification of collective must be destroyed. And people working together. That's literally why the strong cowboy with the gun, a white man with a gun, being the protagonist, saving the towns, saving the day, right? It's like it was written by the Gusano ex-Soviet anti-communist to lead America into how to promote its capitalism and the basis for the entire neoliberal era. And the favorite book that Atlas, you know, Shrugged, you know, the Elon Musk, like literally, you know, like eats a gold leaf, kale, and chocolate a copy of that every night. He eats it. He doesn't read it. He doesn't read. He's an idiot. But he eats that copy of that book so that he can consume the holy relics of capitalist, psychopathic, just completely fucked up individuals. I don't know what's wrong with Ayn Rand. She's a woman, but like constantly referring to man. I mean, it's like a lot of self-hatred in a lot of that writing. But anyway, but it's okay. America's based on just complete off-the-wall insanity and evil, so that's fine. That's a normal thing for America to do. But anyways, so but Sorry to Bother You is entertaining and also important because at the end of the day, the difference between that and any superhero movie is that it's about the collective of people, and very specifically about the working class, and very specifically, and also and the disproportionately people of color. It's in Oakland, which is disproportionately people of color in extreme terrible situations, in actual poverty, and also it's situated in a realistic 21st century world of telework, not teleconferencing, the call center work and modern gig. It rebrands the kind of tired, old, and not very useful 80s mega corporation with the new fun loving, yoga Chase Bank, and then we have maybe a Black Lives Matter sticker, LGBTQ plus flag, and we have artisanal, environmentally friendly steel straws to drink our cinnamon chai dolce fair trade lattes out of, but we're actually all fucking evil. So it kind of like Steve Lift is like got this fun bouncy, Google, Google's a great company, I love Google. Amazon, some evil company like somebody's in competition, Facebook, but they've got like really nice bouncy chairs, and they got really cool hip Millennium Falcon cubicles you can sit in, and free Darth Vader Funko Pops, right? And they're very fun loving corporations. They're very fun. They even have Black Lives Matter. They even have like more gay war criminals, as their head. If Armie Hammer Steve Lift, the CEO, and Sorry to Bother You was gay, that would make it a lot. That would make it even better. You could have Hillary. You can have a Kamala Harris president, vice president, and but that's really a rebranding, because the problem with the Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk 2077 is it's not useful. It's not important because it's a watered down rehash of a spin-off of a I was gonna say Chinese knockoff, but no, it's they would do it better than America. China does better cyberpunk than the United States. The United States is terrible cyberpunk. It's a joke. No, it's a UK knockoff of an American spin-off of a Canadian rewrite of some hacks 1980s attempt to merge cyber technological advances and youth radical movements like punk into a marketing label, and then slap that onto a book and try to sell copies. That's what cyberpunk is. It's a marketing label for bourgeois neoliberal co-opted youth movements, so that some guy might not end up working for the Pentagon, programming drones and bombing, helping bomb countries, working for the military. I think that's what that guy ended up doing. He was trying to write books, and then he called it cyberpunk. And cyberpunk today, a lot of it, especially AAA, single A games, all the capitalist corporate games, all the corporate movies that are put out by Hollywood, and most of the film industry in the United States, which is abysmal. China's actually has important movies. We're gonna get to that though. They have the most important movies ever created that are the most successful, biggest box office selling movies of 2020. The United States, it's Wonder Woman, a joke, terrible war propaganda. Captain Marvel, a joke, terrible fucking war propaganda. Is there a bigger Navy and Air Force ad on the face of the earth other than the Call of Colonialism and all the AAA games, which are the #1 recruitment tool? I don't know. Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman, Mulan, terrible, cliched, and China doesn't need your fake versions of their stories. They can make their own fucking stories. The highest grossing movie of all time, or of that year, during the pandemic, was in China. America didn't have any movie theaters. America's just a dying, sad little shithole. America's too busy murdering 550,000 people and unable to open its CrossFit gyms, its yoga, and its Chase Bank. And I gotta go to my church and my yoga. I gotta go to my fucking my Steve Lift, bouncy castle within my professional hide and seek league competition. But the COVID, I'm gonna go anyway and kill all of San Francisco and cause the deaths of disproportionately black and brown essential workers, because that's what America does. China was too busy destroying the pandemic, and then having the surpassing the United States in box office sales, and the highest grossing movie of that year. In fact, nearly tied with the first, both Chinese movies, was a movie about poverty alleviation. Better than Sorry to Bother You, actually. Much better, much more important, and also entertaining though. It was a comedy. We're gonna get to that though. It's a very funny comedy where they dress up like a tribal chief in a rural village as a Soviet commander to try to trick. Anyway, it's a lot. It's very funny. I've seen like bits of it. I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's the highest grossing movie of 2020, and it's actually important. Unlike every Marvel movie and every Hollywood movie, every TV show, every Disney movie, every video game that more than 5,000 people have played in the United States, they're all garbage. It's really sad. Disco Elysium is not made in the United States, by the way. Made by Estonian fucking communists. And it's definitely not made by a AAA game company. But anyways, yeah. So it's the winter for soldiers, you know? It's winter for, well, it's the winter for the #1 soldier factory, you know, and soldiers that fight for-profit wars, murdering children, burning them with white phosphorus in in Iraq, you know, going into Fallujah and then shooting every 16-year-old boy, and then calling hospitals that were trying to treat the burn victims of chemical weapons attacks in Fallujah enemy propaganda sites because they're reporting the deaths that America has caused, and then they went into the hospitals and killed doctors. That's what Americans did in Iraq. And those soldiers, you know, those soldiers, the ones that come home to your family and then they kill themselves speeding because they hate themselves so much because they fucking shot a bullet through a 8-year-old's face because they weren't sure if that Nokia brick that they were holding had another Nokia brick tied to repurposed cluster, unexploded cluster munitions like a Stark bomb in WandaVision that doesn't do anything to discuss America's actual war crimes. It's a joke. WandaVision is entertaining, but it's useless. It does nothing, and it glosses over war crimes. If anything, airbrushes the sexist, racist, unequal 50s by not talking about what the 50s actually was. But anyways, and it's a longing for a America that never existed. A equal America, a happy America, a happy. Well, I guess it did exist for some cis white upper to upper middle class white people, but anyways, in Fallujah, the Iraq War, and these soldiers, right? These winter soldiers. It's the winter for these soldiers. It's the winter for the soldiers of the actual empire. You know, with the Death Star and the Star Destroyers flying around the galaxy, incinerating Ewoks, Tatooinians, boiling the seas of the Naboo people, and then you know, eating all of the coaxium and the sucking every last drop of steel and lithium. Oh, I'm sorry, not steel and lithium, tachyon or whatever they put into the hyperdrives of the Imperial starships and the speeders and Darth Vader's personal fighter, right? And the AT-AT walkers that are blowing away all the poor little teddy bears in the jungle, you know, which are actually the Vietnamese. That empire, but the real one, the real empire, the real Emperor Palpatine's empire, you know, and Harvard is the Emperor Palpatine training facility. DC is the literal seat. This is the Emperor's giant throne that he sits in inside of the Death Star. That's DC and Wall Street together. Part of that's in Hawaii as well. And that empire, you know, those soldiers. It's the winter for stormtroopers. It's their winter, you know? They're freezing to death now. They're dying of COVID-19. They're coming back from all these wars, from the Fallujahs, from the Vietnams, from the Afghanistans, from the Syrias that everyone was lied to with a bucket of spilled chlorine gas and crushed up Maui onions. Maui onions. You wanna fake a war, you want a false flag, use Maui onions, right? Because the real onions, it's gonna burn your eyes a little too much. You wanna get the tears, but you wanna look like you're crying. You don't wanna actually feel pain because you were fucking sociopathic, false flag, bullshit artist standing around with a fucking white helmet on somewhere in Aleppo, spilling a bunch of Olympic swimming pool cleaner that was going to go into your cousin's third swimming pool that the US government gave you fucking millions of dollars to buy. And then you put the chemicals on the ground and you put some onion in your eye, like, I don't know, a Capitol Hill rioter, white Karen, fucking Nazi crying with onion in her eye. So you use Maui onion, right? Because it doesn't sting you quite as much. Plus, you know, it's like, it's cool. You can go on your Gavin McGinnis hipster Instagram account for Nazis on the new Trump Prager, parlor or whatever the fuck they make, and then you can sell, like, you know, Maui onions from this giant fucking commune full of racist white people that are spreading COVID-19 when they shouldn't be in trips to Hawaii to the native Hawaiians, committing another genocide with germs. You know, it's like more guns, germs, and Maui onions. So anyway, so you take your Maui onions, you put in your eyes, you cry all over a camera. You have fucking stenographers for the State Department, as Max Blumenthal likes to call them, videotape you and hot tweet you crying in somewhere in Syria, and then you say, "Oh my God, Assad is chemical weapons attacking me. They killed my children. They're taking babies out of incubators and throwing them." Wait, was that? Oh no, that was in the 90s. They're taking the Maui onions out of the incubators and they're throwing it into the Uyghur. Wait, Uyghurs. Wait. Oh, that's right. That's right. The World Uyghur Association. I was in a conference with them in the fascist United. I'm sorry, we're not supposed to say the United States is a fascist country. Oh, that's right. No, I was in a big. I forgot which propaganda I was doing today. Was this about the war in China, the Cold War in China, the continued hot war in Syria? Were we doing Iraq, or were we just invading our own capital? I can't remember. We all get trained to the same fucking DC fucking think tank. God damn it. Anyways, oh my God, I was just like, he took chlorine and he poured it into my eye. Like, he got like a super soaker LX500, you know? He fucking shot me in the eye with chlorine gas. It's like, no, chlorine, that's not chlorine. Chlorine gas is, no, that's something else. I mean, he shot me in the eye with yellow cake. Oh my God, look at the yellow cake. Wait, no, that was the Iraq war lie. Wait, hold on. You gotta get your war propaganda. You gotta get your lying, the completely bamboozled, brain poisoned American stormtrooper idiots. You gotta get your lie right. I mean, I know they'll buy any of these lies. I mean, they can't tell the difference between a baby in an incubator and a Maui onion. Like, you know, they're like, what is it? It's like, you know, it's like that anime meme, like with the butterfly, but it's like a Maui onion. Like, oh, is this baby an incubator? I don't know. Genocide, bad. And these aren't white people, so let's kill them all. Oh my God, it's a genocide. They killed the Maui onions with the fucking super soakers. They shot COVID-19, which is a Nazi bioweapon with Chinese satellites from the dark side of the moon. Never mind that the dark side of the moon never faces Earth. I don't care. I don't know science. I'm American and I don't know basic science. Like, more than half of America believe that COVID-19 was a Chinese bioterror attack and it didn't exist and it was not that bad, or a little flu. America doesn't have basic education, unlike Native Hawaiians who had a 95% literacy rate, and we're inventing fucking subaquatic submarines before Jules Verne even dreamt up fucking 20,000 Leagues. But Americans don't know and they don't fucking care. So just tell them, like, Maui onions, like, set fire to some incubator babies in Xinjiang, and that will get your war started. Even people with PhDs in history, art, sociology, so-called professional reporters, science, technology, engineering, and mathematician, literal airline repairmen for the goddamn turbines, they'll all believe you because America doesn't teach anything. And except exactly what they need to know, like, you know, how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Boeing 737. It only takes one because Boeing has a fucking a micron thick candy coating. That's why they all explode and blow up, and that's why Boeing's share price tanked 40% in 2020. But anyways, Americans don't, and they never will know anything, and that's why all the Winter Soldiers are all dying in the wars and in their freezing, falling apart, copper, lead, radon, and frack water filled, tap spewing houses. And I feel bad for these diseducated, sad, you know, if somebody killed like 20 preschoolers, that's always going to be sad, right? Americans are preschoolers because they don't have an education. They've never gotten past preschool, you know, where it counts, which is where economics, history, sociology, basic science. You have master's degree, very like biotechnologists. You have bridge building like engineers that have to know the tensile strength of very specific types of ferrocrete and new aircrete types who think the world is flat. You have historians with good NYU degrees, historians who are Jewish, who are like know back to front thousands upon thousands of pages of history. They have memorized, but they know lots and lots of history, who listen to a literal neo-Nazi Jewish, and I know them personally, these people personally, Jewish historians and Jewish journalists, Jewish investigative reporters. So I mean, ostensibly listening to a literal a Christian supremacist fascist who believes that Jews will be refined in hellfire and converted into Christians, or they will burn forever in a lake of fire in hell, who believe that that in scriptural spanking, they believe that the women and homosexuals, that the tolerance laws which stop employers from discriminating against women and discriminating against homosexuals is the death knell and will destroy modern civilization and Christianity, which is the height of German civilization. And anyway, I could go the Adrian Zenz. Okay, you don't know who this is? Democracy Now!, all the progressive news outlets, and the center and the right, of course. But the worst is that the left and liberal outlets even still to this day continue to blast this propaganda everywhere. And some people are too cowardly to speak up about it because all the university professors, all their colleagues, their social group, their Discord, their Twitter followers, they don't want to be called a genocide denier, even though they are supporting somebody who is basically for Jewish genocide. He says as much in some of his books and his reports, and is a total abject liar. Somebody who is thinks that women and gay and LGBTQ plus people should not be equal. Somebody who works for the Victims of Communism Foundation in DC, a DC right-wing think tank of the military-industrial complex of the capitalist elites. So if you're a leftist, this is who you work with. Somebody who Mike Pompeo has shaken the hands of and has celebrated as a very important central academic and a leading thinker. Mike Pompeo, Donald Trump's Secretary of State. There's no, there's not really a way to talk about this other than through comedy, extremely dark comedy. That's why Neofeud is extremely dark comedy, because there's no way to discuss this in not necessarily but there's no way to discuss this in quote unquote civil plain academic just what pretends to be rational thought, rational calm sentences are a they are part of the gaslighting. It's like, oh, I said it while I was white with a degree, and I said it with very clinical terminology, and so that means it's true, right? Like it's Adrian Zenz is literally a white man can come on screen today on the Gray Zone, one of the only actual outlets that speak truth in the entire West. It's like impossible to find nowadays, with the exception on 2 + 2 is 4, 2 + 2 is 4, and F-35 turbine requires 765 of this specific semiconductor and a 8 nanometer chip. Without very specific engineering specifications, there is zero truth in the entire West. So that's weird to have a Gray Zone still existing. They're constantly trying to be destroyed. And the fact that a Chinese official retweeted one of the things, now they're state-affiliated propaganda because some other, it's like a Chinese account people's accounts, they can retweet whoever they want to retweet, right? But now they're being, anyway, because, it's like so-called independent journalist organizations, Reuters, BBC, Human Rights Watch, Associated Press, you name it, New York Times, Washington Post, they're all like, Gray Zone is trying to state-affiliated media because one time a Chinese blue check mark with a passport, retweeted something they said that's evidence that, anyways, that they're all being paid by them. But anyways, unlike BBC, which is British state-affiliated media, and by extension American Empire, every Western media is Emperor Palpatine state-affiliated media, right? It's omnicidal, death cult, genocide, and actual slavery and actual war crime affiliated media, right? The BBC, Reuters, state-affiliated, genocide-affiliated media. United States, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, genocide-affiliated media. Genocide, Death Star-affiliated media. CBC, genocide-affiliated media. Justin Trudeau, #1 genocider-in-chief, with a literal genocide a trial going through the UN right now, but that's part of why he wanted to not talk about it too much, because it was drawing too much attention to the actual genocide of the indigenous peoples of Canada, who are being wiped off the map, who still have been under boil water advisories for decades, who have way disproportionately and falling levels of wealth, and their poverty rates are through the roof, suicide rates in the high double digits. The United States, same thing. United States is doing United States is doing so many genocides all at the same time. In Yemen, in Gaza, with the support of the apartheid state over there, in Syria. Where is America not doing a genocide of the blackened people, of Native Hawaiians like myself, banning our language, banning our culture, arresting Native Hawaiians, Kaliko Ka'eo, a college professor of Hawaiian in Hawaii for speaking Hawaiian in a court of law? Where is America not doing a genocide? Right? Forced education. Going to an American school is forced re-education. That's what I had to do. That's why I don't know any Hawaiian until I was 20-something. Because America did a genocide and continues to try to genocide Native Hawaiians. 4 times more likely to be homeless, 4 times more likely to be in poverty, 6 times more likely to be murdered by police officers than white people, Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. America is anyway, but I know I bring that point up, but it must be repeated, because as soon as I say this, there will be 6 trillion tweets, water cooler discussions, people with PhDs from NYU talking about genocide, PhDs in like the history of genocide, fucking regurgitating Adrian Zen's talking points through a fucking Democracy Now! Report about a fake fucking genocide. So let me say, as somebody who is literally from an ethnic minority that is being genocided, fucking, you don't have to believe everything. You look up, do actual research. I know. This is how you know that it's white. It is. I'll come back to the point, which is that Aaron Mate brought up a very important point in a recent Gray Zone stream. Here, I'll drop a link to that one I'm specifically talking about, which I recommend at some point taking a look at. Aaron Mate bring up a very important point about that Adrian Zenz, which is that, and that the China, the biggest story, this is the highest accusation that is literally being cited by all the reports. It's basically an echo chamber that has lost the original voice, and the voice was a fucking complete joke of an academic, which, hey, how did Germany, what is wrong with your university system that you're accrediting a guy who can't even do basic statistics right? Like, for example, 8 anonymous sources does not incontrovertible evidence of a genocide make. B, this guy, believes that, a handful of Christians will be ascended after the apocalyptic rapture. This guy's like a complete nut. A Christian fascist nut. And this is who the liberal and left, it's not so much the right wing, it's more the liberal and the left wing MSNBC crowd that is regurgitating this guy's talking point. Rachel Maddow, a literal Jewish woman, regurgitating a fervent anti-Semite fucking Nazi on his research. That the level. I mean, again, it's like it's almost impossible to. This is the entire rest. This is America, Germany, France, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, eating up, swallowing, regurgitating this shit whole cloth across the board. The highest caliber of intellectuals. It's like, what is wrong? Are there any, we expect, I feel like it's like, Malcolm, I feel like Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park, like when he's like looking up at that camera, and he's like riding around in the Jeep in Grumman's, Kauai that's passing for some kind of Chilean dinosaur DNA cloning facility. Like, we do expect to see some dinosaurs on this dinosaur tour, correct? Hello? 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 Are you in there? Hello? Where the fuck are the dinosaurs, right? It's like, hey, entire Western world, English-speaking world, America and its allies, America, Canada, Britain, Spain, America, Canada, Britain, France, Germany, New Zealand, Australia. We do expect to see some university-trained thinkers, right? In this so-called advanced Western civilization. We're gonna have some actual education here, correct? Hello? 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 You're still citing neo-Nazis. You're still citing crackerjack box diploma neo-Nazis that are off their fucking complete rocker, right? And you're Jewish. You're Jewish reporters citing anti-Semitic fucking Nazis. On top of it, and then also the statistics is complete bunk and garbage. With completely spurious source, citing poverty alleviation actions like providing healthcare, and Adrian Zenz has scenes of there's providing free healthcare to elderly people. They're like 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, right? Getting routine checkups in an article, and Adrian Zenz cites that as, you see, this is the forced sterilization. They are forcibly inserting IUDs into these people, and it's like, you look at nobody here is younger than 65 years old. Everybody here has gone through menopause, basically. They're not inserting IUDs into 70, but he's using that as evidence. You see this evidence? This is the poverty. This is a healthcare routine checkups to provide to the elderly. There's not that many 70, 80-year-old fucking Hawaiians and indigenous people, because America likes to murder them. For example, chopping their uteruses out, like in Canada, having an indigenous woman in Quebec, no less. Oh, we're much better in Canada. No, you're not. You're fucking genocide backers, just like the rest of your fucking Western world. Literally, an indigenous woman in Quebec has on video recording her own murder by nurses in Canada, recording her own death. On her medical dossier, it clearly states allergic to morphine, and there are two nurses being videotaped calling her, you disgusting cockroach, indigenous, the most terrible racist names against her. You fat, overweight, you're only good for breeding. You're just breeding more little insects that are infesting our beautiful Canada, in Canada. And then they shoot her full of morphine. They just keep injecting her with morphine. She's like, I stop injecting me with morphine. You're gonna kill me. And she's recording them on camera. Please stop injecting me with morphine. And they're laughing, and then they murder her on camera. Kind of like George Floyd, but it's the healthcare version of that. And American and Canadian and Western health, so-called places of healthcare that are universal death care and universal wealth extraction, murder indigenous and people of color on a regular basis, and their children, especially black women, especially black pregnant women, die at a much higher rate than their counterparts, and their babies as well. And then if you're a Hispanic woman, in the uterus thieves, fucking eugenics doctor in Irwin County, in the United States, they'll just chop your uterus out just to stop you because you want to stop the cockroaches from breeding. That's an actual forced sterilization. That's an actual genocide. When you go in and secretly tie the tubes and incinerate and burn the ovaries and the uteruses, burn them shut. Or just rip them out, just chop them out, unbeknownst to the black and brown, Hispanic and indigenous people and Native Hawaiians. I've almost died 2 times going to the doctor in Hawaii. They completely misdiagnosed a disease that causes coma and then death within months, or within 1 month. They almost murdered me. I'm a Native Hawaiian. So that's forced, that's medical racism, that's eugenics, and that's genocide, that's forced sterilization. Okay? Giving elderly people free checkups in Xinjiang, China is Americans, if Americans knew what actually was happening in Xinjiang, they'd all be moving to Xinjiang right now because they were, oh my god, I want to get some of that healthcare. Holy shit. Wow, they have 70 and 80-year-olds. Shit, in my town, I'm lucky if I have a 70 or 80-year-old that's still alive. They all died from COVID-19. 700,000. My entire county, half of it died from fucking fentanyl after the mining town closed up, and the fucking Sacklers needed to make another $30 billion worth of yacht and mansion money. They just dropped a bunch of fentanyl in there, and they said it cures everything from sadness, like a bad country song played backwards. Fentanyl will bring your car back, your wife back, your dog back, your job back. It'll bring the mining operation back, and then everybody took it, and everybody died in fucking fentanyl. Fuck, I wish I could go to Xinjiang. I wish I was a Uyghur in Xinjiang. I would have a longer life expectancy than my motherfucking Carolinian town, San Franciscan slum, fucking Manhattan cesspool. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's just the neighborhood that's, you know, full of toxic drinking water and people being murdered by the NYPD. That's right. Not a cesspool. It's just a community in America. A community in America. I mean, no offense to the community. I'm just saying, like, you know, the water, like where I'm from, it's also a cesspool. The water comes out smelling like burning plastic, fucking dog feces and liquid Drano mixed up together in a fucking blender. It literally comes out orange, as my friend Kama has come on and testified. So I mean, you know, and in some parts of the United States, I have one of Holly's friends literally was drinking sewage water from the tap, because Philadelphia sees fit to allow the pipes to deteriorate so badly that the sewer pipe explodes, showers a bunch of feces into your tap pipe through all the Swiss cheese of rust after 120 years of never building anything. And they literally all got giardia or some kind of stomach terrible worms and bugs and fever and sickness drinking sewage. So smell your tap water. Does it smell like literal dog feces? There's a good chance you're drinking actual sewage in the United States, like thousands of communities are. So have fun dying from that. But anyways, Americans will be moving to Xinjiang right now, you know. But they knew the poverty alleviation rates, the actual freedom. They say, like, I was watching New Moves channel, and it's like they were talking to like a young woman, and they said, "Are you afraid to go out at night?" And they said, "No, I'm not afraid to go out." Unlike in Britain, where a woman was murdered not only at night. A young woman was taking all the precautions, right? Getting to her car quickly, trying not to make herself a target, doing all the right things, and was murdered by the British police. Sexually assaulted and murdered by the British police in broad daylight. And then the vigil for the murdered woman by the police was brutally shoved together and under oh, now that you're close together, well, look at that. We got to arrest you because you're breaking the social distancing violations. Brutally beat, hit, gassed women holding a vigil for a police murdered woman. This is why Biden's task force and putting money to the police to investigate Asian hate crimes won't work, because the #1 perpetrator of hate crimes are the U.S. police. Every Western country's police forces. Again, important factor is that the violence doers do the violence on behalf of the power structure that employs them, that pays them, and that commands them. And the United States, it's really what the police do is the policy of the United States, and that's the policy of the Democratic Party, which governs 84% of the United States. 84% of the United States lives in and around metropolitan areas. 90 and disproportionate amounts of those metropolitan city urban areas are run and by Democrat governors, mayors, representatives, senators, and disproportionately those are black and brown. And it's about 90%. 90% of the ethnic minorities, black and brown and Asian peoples, a lot of huge numbers of them, they all live in Democrat areas. They're like archipelagos of blue across a sea of red, right? The rural areas, the big open spaces, the farmlands, right? Where all the Capitol Hill rioters are going from, flying on their dentists with 6 acres of $3 an hour or McCall ICE Hispanic migrants that they're all fucking forced forcing into $3 an hour wages in their fucking coke farms or whatever they own. They're with shooting all their guns in the goddamn back, shooting the Hispanics when they get bored, right? Nobody's gonna look into it because America doesn't investigate murders. America doesn't have law enforcement. It only has slave catchers. But anyways, so in the blue areas is where all the black and brown people who live, and they're all murdered there. They're mass incarcerated there, and that's all governed by Biden's party and Kamala's party. They are the top drug war mass arrester and the top cop, Kamala. That's why it's Biden and Kamala. And you will never have America's ongoing genocide, actual genocides, internal genocides of the black people, of the brown people, of Asian people, and their hate crimes, right? The actual hate crimes, right? That 4,000, almost 4,000 in 1 year. Exponential increases because of the military-industrial complex propaganda, blasting anti-Asian lies all day and all fucking night. And Xi Jinping is in your closet gonna come out and steal your fucking star-spangled spoon and fork. Oh my God, how am I gonna eat my, red dye and fucking saturated fat-filled Whoppers without my fucking fork? Oh my God, how am I gonna eat my stuffer's meal and die from the heart attack that I can't get healthcare for? How am I gonna, without my star-spangled, Xi Jinping gonna steal my steals my gun. Xi Jinping gonna come in, he's gonna take my job, my gun, my girl, my Chinese girl. Wait, if Xi Jinping's gonna come in and take your mail-order Chinese abused wife and your massage parlor sex worker, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Why they're all Chinese? Well, isn't he giving you? Well, are you sex addicted, or is Xi Jinping is peddling fentanyl and sex addiction? Which are, no, that's the things that America peddles. Doesn't have basic sex education, teaches terrible young men, especially young white men, terrible things about how to treat women, and then they can't get laid. And then also America's sacklers fucking peddle the fucking fentanyl. But I just saw some fucking American blue check mark over there going, oh, China is responsible for the drugs. The China's peddled the racism. China made us racist against China. What the fuck are you talking? Anyway, America doesn't have there's no actual intellect in the West anywhere. It's sad, very sad. There's no thought. It's just like there are synaptic firings. There's like there are axons and neurons that are sequentially firing in a symphony of electromagnetic wave pulses that are traveling across 100 billion neuronal amalgams of fat and protein, that resemble brains, but there's no actual thoughts happening in the West. There's only like it's like some deep fucked up it's like biological static storms. It's like the inside of a fucking pulsar. It's like a microwave oven. It's like your phone in a microwave oven. That's an American brain, right? There's nothing actually. It's not really thoughts. It's not really like cohesive, rational, actual fact-backed thoughts, right? Unless it's how to like fix the guidance sensor on a Northrop Grumman or Raytheon or Lockheed Martin plane or missile. Then there's a thought. But other than that, there's no thoughts in America or anywhere in the West. There's only regurgitated neo-Nazi crackerjack box nonsensical fucking Jackson Pollock shit all over a fucking graph level of statistical analysis. It's like, let's just like, I know, let's crush up some Maui onions, put some laundry detergent from Colin Powell's very centrally, very intelligent, very agency, very central intelligency. It's really intelligent laundry detergent that was supposed to be let's take some laundry detergent, throw it onto a piece of Nazi paper with a fucking Nazi, but let's white out the swastika and put an American flag on that. Let's throw some turmeric down there, bam, it's like cooking in fucking Emerald's kitchen. That's how you write reports and news and the highest level of superpower intelligence, right? Throw some laundry detergent from Colin Powell's Star Spangled Underpants washing facility because he's Captain America. Throw some George W. Bush's fucking yellow cake. Throw some crushed up incubator baby paste. Like eating a mummy. White people love eating dead people. It's disgusting. Stop being fucking actual cannibals and accusing a lot of other peoples of doing that. But anyways, eating dead 1,000-year-old mummies because you love eating dead black people and eating. I don't know. Is that what the incubators? Is that what the Irwin County eugenicist was doing? Cutting out the body so that white people could eat dead, eat the uteruses of Hispanics. I mean, it would make total sense because you're sick, fucking disgusting people. But anyway, take some incubator babies, take some stolen fetuses from Hispanics from the fucking ICE concentration camps, the happy fun summer camps. Just mix it all up. Just splatter it all over the place. Have Adrian Zenz eat 25 pounds of beef, turmeric, and salt because Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan told him to, and then explosive diarrhea all over the American eagle, and then put like some lines, draw it really crookedly. Americans don't fucking know the difference. Draw like lines like you're a kindergartner who barely got fine motor control under control. Just like draw some lines on it, right? Here's a chart. Here's data. Here's data, okay? Here's a bunch of shit. Here's some dead. Here's some fucking dead. Here's some incubator baby paste. Here's some fucking Xinjiang forced labor. This is some cotton. Here's some cotton. I know it's Fruit of the Loom shredded up, but look at the cotton. Oh my God! Don't buy cotton. We're H&M. We're Nike. We're gonna boycott all of your shit. We're not gonna use cotton from Xinjiang because throw some of that bullshit cotton on the paper, right? The cotton lands over here or lands over here. Adrian Zenz explosive diarrhea that's got like little bits of chopped up Jewish people in it because he's a fucking anti-Semite. You've got, and then just like wherever the dots land, just draw a line. Okay, this is the rate of death of Uyghurs. This is the rate of war crimes going on in the Middle East. This is the number of babies in incubators, right? Just wherever the dots land. Who the fuck cares? It's a scatter plot. Right? It's a Jackson Pollock fucking scatter plot. But Americans, and even NYU, Harvard, Yale, MIT, the most prestigious Australian universities, Oxbridge, Camford, fucking German. German, so good, so sucked them, much healthcare. German universities, what all these people, the highest level, eat this fucking shit up. So just shit all over the fucking paper and then draw a line on it. This is the number of Syrians killed by fucking Olympics pool chemicals. This is the number of children being aborted in the Xinjiang hospitals. Oh my God! It doesn't matter if the dots all go down. You can just draw a line on it and just pretend like it's some fucking jackass mediocre CEO, like I don't know, Elon Musk, sitting around reading his fucking Twitter feed, getting pissed off at somebody who gave him a hot take and DMCAing Silverspook. Right? Like, Silverspook actually said a true thing at me. Me, Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, another mediocre, fucking uneducated, brain-poisoned, static electricity going through what's supposed to be a brain, will look at your report and go, oh, yes, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. Just like the total sense that I make when I say that in April 2020, the United States will have near zero COVID cases. That's verbatim Elon Musk. Or like, the sun will turn red in 500 million years, and that means we have to immediately get to Mars so I can have billionaire, philanthropist, arms dealer, playboy, and me have fully automated luxury space fascist fucking capitalism. Never mind that you're off by a factor of 10, and you're fucking, I thought you were a rocket ship spaceman, and you don't know about space, you fucking clown. But anyway, that's okay, because there's no education and there's no knowledge, there's no thoughts in the West. There's nothing happening there. Most of the actual work is done by Black, Hispanic, and Asian people anyway. Like the Hidden Figures that did the post-Newtonian calculus to get a white man, Neil Armstrong, on the fucking moon. Because all the white guys are too mediocre and too unskilled and too fucking clown and too lazy and too gaslighting, too abusive, and too busy stealing the actual work of Black people, indigenous people, non-white people, people of color, and women. And Turing won the war, gay man won the war, and then they forced him to take hormones that he didn't want to take, and caused him to literally, like, basically lose his mind and committed suicide, biting into an apple because he was basically forced to. It's great that you should have access to estrogen pills, but he was forced to take these pills, and you literally killed the person who was like instrumental in winning a war against Nazis for being gay. So Britain is like, oh, you won the war against Nazis? Well, guess what? We're still Nazis, but we took the swastika off. America's like, oh, you won the war against Nazis? Well, guess what? We're still Nazis, but we took the swastika off. And we put an American eagle. But then, but Hydra is the problem, though. Hydra's the problem. Let's make a graph of all the Nazis by shitting on a fucking paper. You see, look, the Nazis are going way up. The Nazis are going way up, And by Nazis, I mean anti-fascists. But it's okay. It's okay. Antifa is the biggest. Antifa did the Capitol riots, right? So it's okay. It's okay because, but Americans don't they can't tell their ass from a fucking hole in the ground. They can't tell, corporate, it's like, how could you talk about the entire West, even its highest intellectuals, without just, either just like collapsing into a black hole of depression and crying yourself to death, or laughing your fucking ass off. There's no way to describe this in civil, rational sentences. This is why I have to go off on these jet decibel, highly passionate educational talks, not rants. Because if I do it in a non-comedy, that's why Max Blumenthal, I mean, he's right to do it in comedy. Redacted Tonight and Max, they have the right idea. There's no way to do this in a calm, very scientific, scientific, rational. Like, white guys don't do science. This is a joke. They fucking steal other people's science. But anyway, it's rationality theater, intellectual theater, highly educated and intelligence theater. Not CIA I mean, like having a brain that functions, right? It's eloquence theater, right? Argument from it's argument from eloquent white man face, saying nothing, right? That's why people believe Adrian Zenz, because a white man face saying. If it was an Asian guy saying all that stuff, it was that they didn't speak in proper English sentences because they went to a fucking Ivy League school or a school where they teach anything whatsoever. Like, we have a hard time learning in public schools in the fucking. I've taught in public schools in the ghettos of the United States, and it's terrible funding. But they don't really teach you anything in the private schools either. What they teach you is how to speak how to speak in a language that the brainless zombies that pass for a civilization that's barbarous fucking death cult, right? It's like the necromongers in fucking Riddick. I know I'm gonna cite every movie by the end of the stream, so don't worry about it. The death cult, but it's not. It's about speaking in a language that all the brainless white man zombies will perceive as educated, right? That's why Vosh works, right? Because you can say shit like, oh, Marx would have voted for Biden, right? Which is complete nonsense, and it's okay. You can be one of the biggest platforms on the left of the buttery horse, whatever the fuck this bullshit is, because you have a white man face and you talk in white man words and you talk in white man sentences, like Adrian Zenz, right? You a white man face, you're talking in fancy words and you sound very confident, and that means it's true, right? Like when George W. Bush comes out, even George W. Bush, he's got them. He's got them war weapons. You can have Donald Rumsfeld come out and say a thing. Oh, gotta go to war now. And even if you're not that white, you can, even if you're Barack Obama. But the important thing is Barack Obama, he talks in the white man sentences. He says it very in the white man sentences. And that Biden was like, oh, you're an honorary white man because you're so well spoken. It's so rare for an N-word. I'm sorry, a black person like you to be so well spoken. So when Obama can do that, he gets a pass. But only Obama. Now, if you had somebody like from Uganda, like the Senegal, the head of the pandemiology in Senegal, who actually had a number 2 out of 35, where the United States was like number 33 at the very end. Senegal, if you were the actual professional medical head, right? And the government as well, that had an amazing response to COVID-19, unlike the United States, and you said in your Senegalese accent, while black, not from America, not from the West, right? Any other the same words that some white guy said, right? Even Adrian Zenz's words, right? Oh, there's a genocide in China, or something. He just says, oh, there's a genocide in Senegal. They're like, oh, what are you talking about? You're full of shit. You're full of shit. That's why when Luna Oy is much smarter than Vosh, Destiny, and all those white clowns put together. But nobody believes her because she doesn't have the zombie thought-free brain, software installment pass, right? It's literally like you can just install any thought into a white man's face, into a white man's brain, into the Westerner's brain by just saying the thing with white face in proper English with good big word, just say the word like consciously or intentionality, or I don't know, just use a as Alexis de Tocqueville once wrote about democracy, just cite some old dead white guy and everybody will believe what the fuck you said, right? Even though it's totally wrong, doesn't matter, because you have argument from eloquence, argument from Ivy League thespian fucking sesquipedalian big dictionary, not dick, big dictionary grammar and sentence structure, right? It's argument from grammar Nazi, and a literal Nazi like fucking Adrian Zenz. He's a Nazi and a grammar Nazi. So you know, not so much a statistics Nazi. He's not too good at the statistics, but he does say words in like, you know, he has noun, subject, predicate, verb. That's what they don't teach you in public school, so that all the white people can get away with saying bullshit and lies nonstop because they said it with a subject and a predicate. And they can do an adjective. That's why they screwed up when they allowed me to have an education, right? Because if I was saying the same things that I'm saying right now, but I couldn't say them like, you know, at a college level, then everybody would be like, oh, Silver Spook is full of shit. People will still say Silver Spook is full of shit because I have a brown face. That's okay. Be racist. That's fine. That's normal for the entire dying Western world, and you're all gonna fucking burn, so it's fine. But I mean, I can reach a few more people because I can say it in like big word English sentences, you know, when I feel like it. Sometimes I don't fucking feel like it, and I go real fast and I don't fucking care. But then if I need to reach some racist white imperial stormtroopers, then sometimes I'll say it with bigger words. That's what Neofeud is. That's why I ghostwrite for science fiction authors, white science fiction authors, white men science fiction authors, because they're mediocre clowns. And I actually did work in university. Unlike them, they're too busy smoking pot, going to the 7th Fire Festival, fucking all of the hippie chicks that were bouncing around them titties on the bus from fucking Johannesburg to some impoverished town in South Africa that they pretended to save with their NGO. I write science fiction for those people. So anyways, and they don't know how to write shit because they're lazy. They can speak good sometimes, but they can't write a story that's entertaining. It's okay though. It's okay. It's fine. You know, I'm past it. Big dictionary energy, exactly. You gotta have that big dictionary. If you don't have big dictionary energy, nobody can listen to you. Okay, you gotta use well, tanky is, you know, that's just like N-word with us. N-word is there's a meme. There's a really good meme. It's like, it's a gun. It's like a 9mm with N-word on it, and then the silencer is tanky, right? That's a white. It's always a white man telling a non-white person, like Luna Oi, tanky, right? Vash, Luna Oi, you're tanky, right? It's just the N-word, tanky, 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 right? You just blow away the N-words like you're the FBI in the 20th century, just like knocking away, just blowing away all the Fred Hamptons, right? Just stopping them all in their tracks, right? Just blowing away all the Chinese people trying to do 850 million, multi-billion poverty alleviation. Tanky, 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 tanky. Just kill them all. Just like you're, I don't know, Thomas Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln or Andrew Jackson, just slitting the necks of indigenous people. Tanky, 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 tanky. Right? Indigenous people, land back, tanky, 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 tanky. Land back is a tanky, tanky. You're just trying to start an ethno state. Tanky, 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 tanky. N-word, 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 N-word. That's what that is. So that's cool. At least there was some thought put into how can I make myself look less racist while still being a racist Western chauvinist. So, I mean, good job doing a little bit of thinking, right? And not listening to a neo-Nazi's fucking diarrhea statistics. Good job. That's really good. That's really good. But when you keep jumping into these streams, you keep jumping into Luna, into Comrade Kenny, into EJ streams, talking about genocide, 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 genocide. You look stupid again. You look stupid again. You know, just keep saying tanky, because at least that took a little bit of thought to make yourself look not like a white supremacist. Anyway, you know, it's like if you don't become a $270 Patreon, right? And at that point, you get access to my OnlyFans, right? I'm pretending to be a white man. Let me say it in a whiter voice. You know, if you become a $270 Patreon, you get access to my OnlyFans, and also you get to see me saying tanky in 75 different colors while playing Among Us, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and if you don't become a $270 or $2,000 Patreon, you're tanky too, you know, because that not supporting not supporting capitalist white supremacists. I'm sorry, libertarian socialists, not supporting libertarian socialists, independent private enterprise. Wait, no, not private enterprise. Independent anarchist. Not supporting independent anarchist class reductionist is tacitly implied support of states, and that means you're a tanky. So give it to my Patreon or you're tanky. If you don't support random white man with a podcast who can tell you how to get them sick, swole, them fucking, you know, I'm the I don't want to say the name of this guy, but you know, I gotta get that. I gotta get them sick, swole Trotsky gains. You know, you get swole in the brains, they get swole in the gains. You know, if you don't get 26-inch biceps after lifting these fucking dead white man fucking tomes, I'm talking about 300 pounds worth of dead white man paper, burning trees and lifting them gains. You know, cutting down trees like I'm a fucking maple syrup corporation before the socialists stopped them from fucking chopping everyone down. I'm just a Canadian Trotskyist, and I'm just like teach you how to get them gay. I'm gonna get your brain swole and your biceps all swole up like a giant fucking brain of a really smooth brain, genius galaxy brain S7 dude, like Elon Musk brain. I'm going to wait. He's not. Who's smart? Like a Marx brain. You know, I'm gonna give you a big Marx brain. I'm not saying I'm not straight to Marx, but there's too much book worship. That's what Min would say. You know, I gotta give you some swole. And the DSA is Block Luna, so that was cool. Not really. I mean, one of the DSAs. I'm not gonna throw all of them under the bus, but it doesn't really matter. But it doesn't in the West. You occasionally they'll think a few thoughts that are like backed by data, but then you but then you'll be led down the path, and then after that you read your Jacobin or your DSA. You know, they put out a genocide article again, and then it's military propaganda, and then you're back down the then you're the 0.0001% of actual coherent thought resonating through, you know, the half pound of meat in your brain. You know, I mean, there's a lot more silicone injected into there, you know, just like in the bicep. There's a lot more silicone injection. It's like a Brazilian butt lift, but for your bicep, you know. But there's a lot of that in the brain muscle, right? So in the half pound of brain, 0.001% of the time, there might be a thought, right? It's like, wow, maybe whiteness is actually a real problem here in the West, and maybe I listen to people who flap their fucking mouth while they're being literal neo-Nazis, and I don't actually look up statistics, and I'd like to talk about being a rational thinker, but I don't actually want to rationally think. I just want to feel smart saying big words while being a chud, and then thinking that becoming part of the revolution means like changing my Twitter bio after spending years in the alt-right and literally being a fascist, and then changing my Twitter, putting a Black Lives Matter, putting a BLM and an anime cute avatar in my Twitter bio after taking the Hitler mustache off makes me all fixed, you know. And this is a thought. It's like, maybe there's more to life, and I have to actually work. Not that I want to, because I'm a fucking privileged ass Westerner who hasn't worked a day in my life, and I just sit on my ass in Beverly Hills in the fucking mommy and daddy's 75 golden toileted Hispanic cleaned, you know, a black person fire fought, like, because when Vosh's families, you know, when the fires come, mommy and daddy can pay for the fucking private firefighting team. When all of that Song of Texas, ice, and California wildfire burns it all to the crisp, that's coming. Vosh will be fine, just like Taylor Swift, just like you know, Elon Musk. They'll all have their personal firefighting team. They probably have, hey, you got some good firefighters? Yeah, I got you know, Usain Bolt. I got some of the fastest fighters. They're running around. They're like sprinting at 80 miles an hour, like cheetah. They're like black cheetahs running around my fucking my compound with all of my 25 IMAX theaters and literal Shaq playing basketball, because I can afford to have Shaq play basketball in my house, because of course, right? And they have the pirate firefighters just like running around the house, you know, like black people, like as fast as a lot of these Olympians, right? And they're just like running around with buckets of water with fucking super soakers putting out my wildfires while California's burning down. It's amazing. It's amazing stuff. It's really, now 25 of my 50 black firefighters died in the wildfire, but you know, they're like $1 an hour. It's $1. Their lives are worthless. I mean, they're animals. I mean, they're like the 500 million kangaroos, wallabies, and sloths that were murdered in Australia's wildfires. It's fine. It's totally fine. So Vosh is over there sitting there calling up the firefighters to put out all of his fire. And he's telling the firefighters at the same time, oh, by the way, I have a sociology degree. I know the black former Olympian, now prison enslaved firefighter experience. So I'm actually going to write a book about your experience while you die, and make another $10,000 a month on my Patreon yelling at other white people about it from the comfort of my silver-plated COVID vaccine with a Filipino injecting me in the arm. Mommy and daddy paid for that Filipino as well. They're very cheap. Filipinos are like $2 an hour, a little more than a black slave, but still pretty good. The Filipinos. There was a French person who actually said, In France, let me get this. I like this quote because this is somebody responded to something I recently said. Admitting the truth. Asia has been white guy sex tourism playground, mail order wife store, cheap food cooking service in Chinatown, cheap railroad labor, NPCs for Western sex addicted killing, and now a boogeyman to scare up military industrial spending for the next few decades. Stop Asian hate. And then this person said, when a boss, and I'm French, I had it in a job a long time ago, learned my girlfriend was from the Philippines. Very casually, my French boss told me, Filipina is not for marriage, it's just for sex. I've never been more disgusted before. We pretend like this exploitation mindset doesn't exist, but we all know it's there. So it's okay. It's a fine. Vosh, go hire all your Filipino sex slaves. And, you know, if you go murder a bunch of women in a sex parlor, it'll be understandable because white man's feelings are more important than the lives of Asians. That's the important lesson of the massage parlor. Just like the cops, right? He just had a bad day, man. He just had a bad day, you know? He was fed up, you know? His Patreon... His screaming nonsense and write-in for Biden Patreon went from $6,000 to $5,800, and that was a rough day for him. You know, that's what the United States police officer is saying about the man who just murdered these people. You know, he just had a rough day. He was fed up. He just kept on like having sex with sex workers, and that was just hard for him. You know, Xi Jinping was peddling Asian women's crotches at him. Xi Jinping and the people, the CCP, made him abuse sex workers and then made him kill them. That's what the cop was arguing, and that's accepted in the majority of the West. Even in France, definitely in Canada, obviously in places like the UK, where Asian people are treated terribly. There's a Daniel Dunbar has an interview with a Chinese woman from Hong Kong who said, I always dreamt of going to UK, and then I was like basically beaten, brutalized. I worked for years in a bank, and I still thought it was a great place. There's opportunity, there's potential, economic and career potential. I went there, I worked there. I was paid half what the average white UK person was paying. I did high-level programming, tech, and finance work in UK office towers. I did twice the work. I was paid half, and I always thought I would make it. And I had slurs said at me, and I thought, oh, they don't understand when they say China, oh, China girl, or they talk about me love you long time. Oh, they don't know that those are racist, right? They're giving the benefit of the doubt. And then she was literally beaten and brutalized by men, by white people in UK, and told to go the fuck home. And then she realized that, oh, that's right. The UK, France, America, the entire Western world, Germany, Australia, New Zealand were, and now really, really, really are, but they always were, racist, sexist, misogynist, and they use Asia as their personal sex tourism to fly to Bangkok and have their hangover in Bangkok. You know the Hangover 2 in Bangkok, where we go fuck a bunch of Asians and then treat them like objects. Also, Hangover 1 with some Asian guy dropping out of the fucking trunk, you know. It's played up for comedy, but it's because comedy in the West is about, you know, we can't say N-word, but we can say slitty eye, we can say all the terrible slurs about Asians. That's fine, including the Bloodhound Gang playing at Columbia University in the mid 1990s, giving the middle finger to the Asian Union when they made a song called Yellow Fever. Which is, I'm not even going to say the lyrics. You can go look it up yourself. Mid-1990. You know Bloodhound Gang? We don't need no water, let the motherfucker burn. You know that song? It was on the radio. The Roof is on Fire. That's the same song. You and Maybe Baby, we ain't nothing but mouths. They made a song called Yellow Fever. All about the most sexist, the most... It's just disgusting. It's anti-women, it's anti-Asians, and the entire the colleges, again, these highly liberal, very progressive, very not racist colleges, the entire student bodies, when the Bloodhound Gangs turned to the Asian Student Union, who said, please stop singing this song. Here, I'll read you a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your collapsing ass Western. I don't want to read too much of it because it's kind of gross. Maybe I'll try to censor some of it. Yellow Fever lyrics. Are those nunchucks in your pants? Are you happy to see me? Let me take you back to the day I met my China girl. When I landed a Pam like on the San Fran real world, I was sweating like a vegetable inside of a wok. I'd never been to Asia Minor, but I was gonna Bangkok. Like Christy Yamaguchi, I had to break the ice. Should I talk about Mothra mash or shrimp fried rice? I was sharp as a Chinese star, but it's a line that I threw just 30 seconds over Tokyo and this Johnny would woo. I took a shot like Jeanette Lee, put on moves like Bruce Lee. I told her every Sun Yi needs a little Woody. I said for all the tea in China, me vagina no free, but me love will linger longer than Ming Dynasty. I said I needed her to do her to do my laundry. I knew she needed a way to legally stay within country. She was made in Taiwan. I said okay with that. Just promise me you'll never try to eat my cat. That's just the beginning. Chinky Chinky Bang Bang, I love you. Anyway, this is getting really gross. It gets even. That's just the beginning. Then it gets a lot worse. Where's the? This is the Bloodhound Gang lyrics. Oh. In Japan, a man's wife hand job that can cost him his life. But now this Captain Kirk has his own Sulu. I'll shampoo her Fu Manchu with Lo Hung Wangu, cause I ride my slant-eyed slope like a brand new Kawasaki. Oh my chinky, she's so kinky, got me hot like Nagasaki, burning up like napalm, bursting like an A-bomb. Think I got that jungle fever, but I caught it in Nam. Anyway, that's American lyrics that were celebrated and allowed to play, and the NYU, I mean big colleges. I think it was like East Coast Ivy League colleges. The Asian Student Union protested these lyrics from the Bloodhound Gang. They said we don't want them playing here because of this extremely racist song. They got up on stage, turned the band. Thousands of people on the university campus, on liberal university campuses, turned to the Asian Students Union, holding signs. Hold up them, and he said, okay, everybody, turn to them, hold up your middle finger, and say, fuck the Asian Student Union. And everybody, virtually everybody in the audience, disproportionately white, obviously, turned to the Asian Students Union and said, fuck you. And then they play that song. It's okay to say, you can't say the N-word anymore. Not that there's still racism against black people, but, you know, you can't be so overt. But you could say that shit. You could say all the most racist anti-Asian shit. You still can't do it. And then right now, you especially can do it. And it's drumming up consent for the next fucking 20 years of war to 30 years of war. If there is an Earth, if they succeed drumming this war up, there's not going to be an Earth because it's going to be a nuclear radiated, fucking Mad Max wasteland with a toxic shithole husk covered in the skulls of everyone, where there used to be a planet, because there will be nuclear war. You want to start a fucking actual war with a nuclear superpower? It is so incredibly dangerous what is happening right now. Nobody is taking this seriously. Well, not nobody, but too few people in the West are taking this seriously. Which is that's my biggest actual fear, is like that the United States, Germany, France, Britain, the Australia, New Zealand, all these places that we're talking about, because of their just it's almost like unbelievable levels of uncritical. It's a combination of the racism. Again, it's a white man saying it, and years and decades of demonizing and attacks and lies about China and Asia generally. It's the racism, the lack of education, the lack of critical thinking, the lack of teaching that, the pervasiveness of brain poison and diseducation throughout the society, from Wall Street, DC, and Hollywood, and all of the university system. And the serious part, I mean, all those jokes aside, is that if this war starts, I mean, I bring this up every time, but this is I'm bringing this up because it is critical right now. Not just to stop anti-Asian hate, which is terrible, is atrocious, it's disgusting, it is accelerating. But not just that, because the war and the cost of that war, even if it doesn't go nuclear, hundreds of thousands of people, millions could die in this. America, you want healthcare? You want all those? How are you gonna have a worker cooperative when you're too busy sending off every fucking 17 to 25-year-old off to a fucking war with China? How are you gonna have your worker cooperative when the U.S. military is too busy taking all of the money for education, healthcare, housing, and infrastructure and dumping into the fucking U.S. military, like it did for the last 20 years with the war, with $21 trillion for the forever war on terror, war on Iraq, war on Afghanistan? You're never gonna get, even you want your white supremacist, Western chauvinist, sock them imperialist healthcare, you know? You're not gonna get that if the wars continue. That's why Germany has, Germany, that's why Adrian Zen's host country, Adrian Zen's still Nazi, suck them imperialist, capitalist, disgusting host country, Germany, which is super racist against Muslims, African, people from Africa and the Middle East. This is why Germany still has National Socialism, you know? It's not the Nazi party. It's the National Socialist Party that is for a good wage for white Germans. The reason why Germany, Germany's little fucking China knower, China understander, who doesn't speak Mandarin, read or write it, been to China like one time. Also, he was also part of the whole Tibet, pushing the Tibet, which is just another way to try to attack China and stop the communists. Oh, fun fact: a lot of the Uyghurs that have left China, one of the sixth richest person in China was actually the sixth richest woman in China, and the sixth richest person in China and the richest woman at one point before she left was a billionaire Uyghur oligarch, capitalist, that the capitalist class wanted to break with China, and she wanted to be the ruler to dominate that independent state. So the US wanted to break off, right, Xinjiang, and she wanted to be, and would be, potentially, basically the ruler of that state if they were to successfully break it off. Her name is Rabia Kadir, and in the 90s she was an international exile, she was part of the 90s international exile community separatist movement. Her activism against Chinese government forced her to give up, and the New York Times articles have actually stated that her activism against the Chinese government forced her to give up her Audi, 3 villas, and a far-flung business empire. Oh, it's so sad, because New York is just, again, it's Emperor Palpatine training facility. New York Times is Emperor Palpatine's mouthpiece, right? Oh, it's so sad that she lost her business empire. Also, it's New York, well, it is the Empire State, you know. Sometimes they say the quiet parts out loud too. New York Times, stop saying empire, you know. If you don't want Native Hawaiian indigenous activists stopping your ongoing illegal occupation of Hawaii with your white supremacist capitalist planet-destroying empire, you don't want to call you empire, New York Times defenders of the fucking disgusting planetary genocide and slavery, for actual genocide and actual slavery factory and death cult. If you don't want me to call you an empire, New York Times, stop fucking saying her empire like it's lost her empire like it's a sad fucking thing, you fucking clowns. But it's okay, the New York Times have the same problem. Right, if argument from whiteface and I went to too many fucking Ivy League school problem, right, and didn't learn fucking shit. But anyways, that's okay. Just keep saying the quiet parts out loud, then I'll throw it back in your fucking face. The New York Times describing her far-right Farouk Altay, anti-communist, ultra-nationalist, the far-right Farouk Altay, one of her nephews, is an anti-communist, ultra-nationalist, leads the Uyghur extremist groups in the United States. The ones that, where there was an anti-Stop Asian Hate rally, and the Uyghur extremist group, again, these are the Uyghurs that have left because they wanted to have far-right beliefs. They wanted to keep women oppressed. They wanted to continue, like they're on the side of things like ISIS. They're on the side of far-right extremist Muslims, which America loves to foment and create, like Osama bin Laden. You know, it's like, very centrally intelligent, agents, right? Very centrally intelligent agents off there trying to start a land war with Russia to get them into a quagmire, and then come back and then have them like, stuff happened, and then we'll use the stuff that happened as a pretext to just do the rest of the wars that we need to fight, and then impoverish Americans, and whatever you think about that. I mean, that's where all your money went. It went into fucking blowing up all of the rest of the 7 countries, 7 years. And it was very centrally intelligent. I mean, if there's anything, they were pretty good at starting wars and getting all these people fucking killed and getting millions of people impoverished and stealing everybody's oil. We took the oil. I got the oil. I love oil. Oil's secure. I don't know about the war. I took the oil. I took the yellow cake. the oil. And then I took the oil and I poured it in Star Spangled Underpants. I poured the laundry detergent in my underpants. And I cleaned my underpants. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that? Oh, that's not laundry detergent. That's a WMD yellow cake refined uranium. A byproduct. We took the oil and we put the laundry detergent. We put the uranium into the Uyghur concentration uterus. And then we took the uterus and dropped it into a incubator. and we cook some babies in there. They're cooking a lot of fentanyl in those baby incubators somewhere in the Middle East, you know. And then they take the incubator cooked fentanyl baby, they throw it out into the mouth of an unsuspecting white male incel, and then he has to go shoot up. Hey, you gotta get some guns. You gotta shoot up a bunch of Asian sex pilots, because you know there's incubator babies with their white male yellow cake. Laundry detergent, star spangled. Anyway, watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It elaborates everything that I'm saying, but you know, with a higher production value and very entertaining actors. You know, and Anthony Mackie. You know, he's flying around in there. You know, he's got his fucking star spangled underpants. You know, and he puts his yellow cake into Libya, and then he causes a slave market over there or something. I don't know what he did over there. They caused us. I just read what the teleprompter broke. I don't know what happened to my teleprompter. I'm just the leader of the free world. Donald J. Trump, I'm Joseph Obama, George Biden. I don't know who the fuck I am. I'm just fucking reading off of this fucking script because I'm a fucking ass clown, war criminal. That's the Western brain. What am I supposed to say today in my Twitter feed? What am I supposed to say today in my Discord? What do I publish in my university? What do I say in my lecture today? What do I say around the water cooler in this Apple corporation? What do I say today? What am I supposed to ban off of Facebook today? Oh, is it anything that's like left of Joseph Biden? Okay, all right. You know, if you know socialism, anarchism, public. Okay, remove that. What are we supposed to shadow ban Silver Spook today? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm a fucking Westerner working for any corporation, you know, working in a university. I'm a humanitarian. I'm a professional human rights lover. I love human rights. That's what I do for a living. I go to fucking, PETA rallies, and I'm vegan because dogs are more human than black people. You know, like some imperialist vegans, not all of them, but I mean the ones that are like the white capitalist imperialist ones that last time went after, you know, and I love human rights. Like, animals are humans. The dogs are humans, more human than the black people that are fucking cooking and making all of my soybeans in my gold leaf kale and gold is vegan. No humans were harmed in the mining of Elon Musk's. No sentient beings were harmed in the mining of Elon Musk's emeralds. I buy emeralds. I put emeralds inside of I put emeralds inside of my Gwyneth Paltrow Goop smoothie because emeralds. No humans, no sentient beings were harmed in the making of those emeralds. I don't care if cops in South Africa came down with fully automatic assault rifles and gunned down an entire cave full of black people. They're not people. They're reactionary. They want a black ethno state. That's bad. Also, I saw a black person one time a black person like stepped on a dog's foot. So they deserve what they got. I'm a Canadian vegan. Watch my YouTube channel that has 7 million subscribers and give me $20,000 a month on Patreon. That's how you influence people in the West, is with complete brain rot. And you can get people who care about animals. You can get young people. You can get old people. The right wing, it's easy. All you just do is you just be in America, and the right wing's like, oh yeah, we're Nazis and we love what you do, killing black people. That's great. Just keep doing that. But to get the center, liberal, and the left, right? It's a little trickier. Not that tricky though. All you just do is just take some yellow cake or some reconstituted just take like a cow tongue from the store, and then just say it was a fetus, and they can't tell the difference. And then throw it out of an incubator. Like, just take your washing machine, call it an incubator, take a picture of that, and throw the cow tongue. Oh my god! And then spray your skin brown. Do brown face. Just like that guy in Short Circuit, right? Spray your face brown. Take a cow tongue. Put it in your washing machine, and then start some fires in the background, right? Sprinkle some baby powder, and just call it cocaine, and make it look really drug dealery, like a South American or Central American. That's how you know it's South American, Central American, because there's drugs everywhere, right? Like every Netflix original series, like Narcos. Anyway, so you just make it look like a South American Arabic place, Just have somebody moan in the background, like a Snyder or a '90s naughties action movie, right? Just take some out of context appropriated Muslim prayer, throw it into the soundtrack of a '90s action movie, put Wolverine and 10 other people and have them fighting in the background, and then take a baby in it, because that's what makes it the Middle East, is somebody moaning in a language that nobody understands, right? It puts a little bit of some. Take some African drums and throw it in there. Westerners can't tell the difference, and they don't fucking care. Take the cow tongue, throw it out of the washing machine, and then call it a baby, and that will get 230 million liberals, Biden voters, a lot of the left, the Western left, to buy your genocide story. That's how you do it. That's how, literally. I'm not even joking about some of that. There was a German former journalist who went to Iraq in the 90s and watched as they went to an area. And he got on a bus and they were driving, all the journalists, German, Australian, British, American, Reuters, BBC, CNN, you name it. All these journalists on this bus, they're driving somewhere in, it was in where was it? I can't remember. It was a Middle Eastern country where they're trying to start a war. It was Iraq or Kuwait? I forgot. But you know, they drove away from the ostensible war site, like 30 miles away from where there was supposedly a war. There was like a small set. It was basically like, you know, there was nothing there, but they had cars, and they had like some structures. It was like a Hollywood set, right? Like it's like a Westworld set, right? But like in the middle of the, it's a Western, right? Have a few houses. There's desert back there, and then they had so people just took bottles of gasoline, like jugs of gasoline, threw it all over these old cars, just like old cars that were already burned, right? Old cars that are already burned, threw gasoline all over them, took a bunch of, took matches, set the already burned cars on fire, right? And the guy was like, the German journalist was like, what are we doing here? Isn't the fighting and the battle supposed to be happening like miles and miles away? And they're like, the reality is that's not what was happening. And they said, well, it doesn't matter, and people will, you know, it's better if we look like we're in the war zone, right? And then they set the cars on fire. So it was the entire newscast. It was just like a mainstream CNN, MSNBC, Fox newscast of the war, right? Set the cars on fire, pretended like it was a town, and the journalist holding the microphone with the camera, and they said, okay, now pretend like you're ducking and dodging bullets, okay? And then they had retroactively had Hollywood sound designers, right? Like George Lucas is, you know, talking about George Lucas is burning Ewoks in his redwood forest that won't exist anymore because climate change and America's disastrous policies will burn it all to a crisp. So literally, right, like Hollywood Skywalker Ranch sound designers inserted whizzing bullet sounds into the newscast, ostensibly live newscast, and the journalists are told to duck and dodge and report on a war that they're supposedly looking at, and like we're here fighting the extremists and the rebels. My goodness, the militants are encroaching on the city. Innocent people are being killed. Please, United States military, you must send more money, more troops, more planes, more tanks, more bombs. Totally fake. I forgot the book. It was on the New Moves channel, but there's an entire book about this where he writes about these events like this. This was the journalism to basically manufacture consent for just, you know, one of the dozens and dozens and dozens of wars. And but I mean, so when I'm talking about, like, you know, just take a baby, the incubator baby story is not very far from that. It's just some a woman with a single name, no last name, who happened to be the daughter of a friend of a wealthy, powerful individual that was allied with the United States. Just came out and start crying on camera about babies being thrown out of incubators. They're stomping and killing these children. It's disgusting. Please, United States, invade and defend human rights and bring democracy bombs to save our country. And that was enough. That was enough to, you know, again, because it's argument from whiteness, it's argument from look at my degree, argument from it's on television, it's got to be right. I mean, the United States will not. We are the most advanced, powerful, enlightened, very rational, civilized nation on the earth. There's so much money and power going into this television station. It's CNN. You know how? There's no way that they would get like facts wrong. The whole fucking thing is a Hollywood set. America is a Hollywood set. The whole fucking thing. It's a collapsing Hollywood set. They don't do anything but fucking shoot Hollywood. The news reports are all fucking Hollywood sets, right? That's the you know, all the world's a stage. It's like in the United States, yeah, the entire United States is a giant fucking sound stage. It's all Skywalker Ranch, you know? It's all Skywalker Ranch. You know, it's just making ostensibly, but it's making fictional movies that are called CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, BBC, Reuters, everything. The university system is also a fucking Skywalker Ranch, you know, where people get up, you know, like Larry fucking Summers, and get up and say, we are doing God's work, and the United States is the greatest country in the world, and we are liberating the world from poverty and blah 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 blah. That's all the Hollywood said. The dark, as Giannis Varoufakis once called him, the Dark Prince of High Finance, Larry Summers. But anyways, anyway, we could go on this forever. There's infinite amounts of material in this. But I mean, the important point is that that all of this lies, all this nonsense, cannot continue indefinitely. It's not 1251. Okay. And that there is a future. I kind of missed the whole, but I'm gonna go into the positive stuff, because I know that's a lot of negative stuff, right? Being told that you have no actual brain. I'm so sorry. I'm not. Obviously, you literally don't have no brain, but I mean, too many people. Most people, even on the left, still in the West. Not. I would say a lot of people of color, they get this, right? Not all of them, but a lot more of them, and people in the global South, they understand. They have to understand. If they don't understand, they're dead. See, for a Western, part of it is for a Western middle class white person, you don't have to understand anything to have a nice life. You can believe wrong things, or you could believe right things, or you could believe wrong things, right? But to believe right things, you have to do the work. And to believe right things that tell you to believe. To get to this point of understanding the truth means you have to understand that your good middle class life, if you still have one, or even your less than middle class but still better than a global South person's life, you have to understand that, you know, it's I don't want to quote Al Gore because that guy's also a war criminal, but you know, but it's like, it's hard to understand something if it will lose your material wealth and your material comfort, right? If you to understand it. And also it will lose you some moral standing, right? You want to feel like you're a good person. You don't want to lose your nice privileges, right? Like EJ and Luna were like, why is everybody standing this imperialism? When is the West actually gonna care about global South people? The truth is, they never, fortunately, very, very, very few of them ever will. To care about global South people means to recognize that they are stormtroopers, to recognize that the nice things that they have is built on the backs of slaves, of war, on death, on wealth extraction, on suffering, on lies, and that their entire countries, the Western countries, are the Star Wars evil empire, right? And that means to do the work means to do what? To fight against your own privileges, right? And that's not, you know, I mean, for any human being, that's not easy, right? To try to make yourself materially work. That's why I say we have to focus on material conditions. We have to focus on material conditions, right? That's why they'll vote for Bernie, but they're not going to support Vietnam. They're not going to support China. They're not going to support people in Venezuela. They're not going to support the global South. They'll vote for Bernie because they want $20 wages, $30 wages. They want healthcare. They want housing. That does help them. Supporting China and Vietnam means attacking your own empire, attacking your own whiteness, attacking your own privilege, your Western privilege, your white privilege, the corporations that extract wealth for your country, you know, and it means attacking your own identity as I'm a good person, I'm an educated person. It means undoing a lot of lies in your head. And why undo lies in your head when you can just, you know, have electricity, food, air conditioning, and just play video games all day? Right? Even if you, oh man, my healthcare's not so good. Oh my gosh, this house is not new. It's old. My parents' attic is not so good. This car is old. You're not in the global South though. You're still better off than millions of people, billions of people around the world, right? So you go, okay, I want healthcare. I want a better house. I want free college. But it's like, you know, and Bernie doesn't ask really anything of you ultimately. Doesn't ask. Social democracy, right? We need the Swedish model in America. We need the German model in Sweden, H&M, which is one of the countries that Vietnam and China are both simultaneously boycotting because H&M has backed and said that China has committed genocide in Xinjiang, backing the China genocide narrative, and the forced labor to work on the Xinjiang cotton and the boycotting of the Xinjiang cotton. H&M is a Swedish company, right? So they're participating in the imperialism, that corporation, right? And in Vietnam, H&M also put out a map that basically violated Vietnam's territory. It said, like, it had a map of islands that was incorrectly showing the islands in their area. They're showing them not as their islands, but as I think it was as China's islands. But not because China wanted to, but it was just because they didn't care enough to like look closely and update their maps. And so Vietnam and China are both boycotting H&M, right? Further, solidifying a lot of allegiances around. Further, and all the ongoing rhetoric is only solidifying. As far from breaking up support in China, it's actually solidifying Chinese love of and love of their country, which is important, and not necessarily, they're calling, oh, it's a toxic patriot. America is the one drumming this up. It's not the Chinese. In fact, the Chinese, they're trying their best to stop. They don't want that because they understand that it can become more like the United States. And they don't have elections, which is a great way to, and they don't have elections and a fully functional, dominant oligarchy like the United States has, because that's an easy way to drum that kind of stuff up. But anyways, but the SOCDEM countries, this is an important point that like Luna and EJ were talking about on Twitter, which is that if you are the people who are asking for Sweden, the Swedish model, the German model in the United States, a lot of them, right? If you aren't interrogating how Sweden and Germany continue to imperialize or extract resources unfairly and treat global South peoples unfairly to have their high standards of living, then you are not radically revolutionary. You're not actually on the left. You're not actual socialist communist. You're a national socialist, which is what, I mean, it's I don't want to compare it's the Godwin's law, and Godwin has suspended the law, I know, but the Nazis didn't begin as the party of just outright multi-million massacre. They began as the party of disenfranchised white Westerners. Western, generally, Germany is a Western country. White Westerners, especially the men, who wanted to have good middle-class lives. So that's what it was. It was a populace of the masses. National socialism. Mussolini brought about the first pension system, right, for the masses of Italians. And the National Socialist Party was about bringing, the distance between Trump and Bernie is ultimately actually not that far when you look at it in that context. And once the American the people who are not there for planetary liberation, for the poverty alleviation, for the life, for the health, for the wealth of the entire planet, all people, and also the environment that supports the people as well. Those people that are not there for everyone are the National Socialist parties, ultimately, and they might not be super far right. We're just gonna slaughter all of the black, indigenous, or Jewish people right now, but they do not have radical solidarity. They are Western supremacists. They are white supremacists in the sense that they value their white Western national lives over the lives of the Vietnamese, of the Chinese, of the Native Hawaiians, of the South Central Americans, of people in Africa, of people in the Middle East. This is the thing that's coming out now. It's like, it's okay if we continue imperialism and the wars as long as we get better standards of living in the United States, right? They're really showing their asses right now. Unfortunately, some of the DSA, fortunately, a lot of people who a lot of people thought were comrades, and they're like, I don't care. I'm not gonna interrogate H&M. Screw China. Fuck China. Fuck. That's a lot of people that are attacking China. A lot of them were Bernie supporters. A lot of people who went for Trump, they were Bernie supporters, and they say, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna get my healthcare with Bernie. I'm not gonna get mine through Bernie. I'm gonna get it through Trump. If I'm not gonna get it through Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, I'm gonna get it through you know, blacks, you know, the Hispanics are coming across the border, murders and rapists. If I can't get it by this kind of like light National Socialism and but we're social democratic socialists, right? Kind of masking a lot of these other tendencies. I'm gonna get it stomping on Hispanics. I'm gonna get it stomping on Muslims. Muslim ban. I want a Muslim ban. I want to stop these Hispanics coming to my country. Who gives a shit about the black and brown people? You know, make America great again. Make America white again. If I, you know, and it's like, if I can't get it through Trump, I can't get it through Bernie. I'll get it through Trump. Millions of people. There's a video of that woman going into. I showed it last week. Going into a Starbucks, ordering a coffee from a black Starbucks barista, or is a coffee shop barista. And she has no mask on, and he's like, "I'm sorry, man, we don't serve people with no mask on. This mask is required." A white woman with a black, she had a half black child. He's like, "I don't serve people. We don't serve people without masks." And the lady just stood there for minutes. Just no, you will serve me. You must serve me. You will serve me. Blah 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 blah. Just going and going and going. And then they started, like, she started calling him names. People were like, and other people in the line were like, "Just get this lady, get out of here. You get out of here. Let us get through this line. Let us get our coffee." And the lady ultimately, and then she said, this stupid freaking N-word is being a B. And she just called him the N-word with a black child, calling the black barista the N-word in this coffee shop. And on her Instagram and her Facebook and Twitter pages, like on her social media pages, she had Go for Bernie, healthcare for all, you know, the let's democratic socialism. She had like all Bernie shirts, Bernie stickers, right? And then right after that, Trump. It was all Trump. Somebody would look through her Instagram and she was like, "Trump supporter, Trump, make America great again." Red hat, right? Wuhan flu, you know, it's like, oh, I can't get it this way. And then, you know, so there's a lot of people like, oh, you know, I'm only in this until I get mine. Fuck you all, right? That's what a lot of you know. That's the difference between, I think, as a Comrade Kenny and Silver L, we're talking about the difference between content creators and communities. You know, was it Peter Coffin who said you can't have any community on the internet? I mean, it's harder, and you can't have a community. I think also the Serfs have said that as well. And it is not easier. It's not easy, right? It's easy to just serve up, again, to be entertaining, right? The difference between being an entertaining movie and an important movie, or the level of entertainment and the level of importance, right? Community is important. We need community if we want us. If a lot of people want to better all of our lives and do the right thing. Entertainment, you know, it's also important for self-care, blah blah blah. But I mean, having movies that educate people, movies, art, games, films, books, board games, tabletop RPGs, point-and-click adventure games like Neofeud. I mean, I hope that it helps some people move to a more radical level of solidarity with their fellow people and planet. I hope so, right? But whether it's entertaining or it's important is two different things. And the community, online communities, it is true that, yeah, a lot of content creators, they just create content for you to consume. Like a television channel, if you watch the Disney Channel, if you watch just some TV, if you watch a Marvel movie, it's not creating a community, you're just consuming content, right? There are blended, like when you're doing Twitch streams or when you have Discord and you have these sorts of things, you have online, it's hard to organize in real life right now, and it's dangerous because of COVID-19. So a lot of things have to go online. A lot of things just generally have to be online because you can't have certain discussions in person all the time. Because guess what? People shouldn't be flying all over the place. Don't fly to Hawaii, please. Hawaii's closed. Pandemic. Stay the fuck home. You know, take care of your fucking dying ass pandemic-filled country. Don't come to Hawaii. We don't need your fucking plague, your American plague. That's fair because America is one of the countries that has the highest, and they're spreading it the most, and they're denying vaccines with global vaccine apartheid. Unlike China, which has given more doses internationally to global South countries than it has internally, and U.S. has given 0. China and Russia have given together more. It's like 20 times more than Germany, UK, and U.S. 0 vaccines to the poorer countries and black and brown countries, global South countries. Germany, the EU, 30 million. Basically almost nothing. China and Russia together, almost a billion. Almost a billion. 20 times higher. 20 times higher. You know, we don't need your plague. We don't need you visiting here in Hawaii. We don't need you buying up more houses so that the houses here go from $900,000 to 1.3 million. In this area we're in, I just talked to somebody who was in real estate. It went from the prices from January 1st to April 1st, 4 months. Prices of real estate went up 20% in 4 months. That's 60. That's almost double in. It's on schedule to double in potentially a year. Double home prices in a place in Hawaii where Hawaiians, more than half of Hawaiians do not live in Hawaii because they are priced out. They can't afford to live here because too many rich foreigners, Americans, etc., coming in, buying up the housing, bidding it up, bringing in, you know, all of their servants, paying us terrible wages to dance fake plastic hula. I talk about it all the time. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but don't come to fucking Hawaii, okay? Not now. And if you do come, don't come now. And when you do come stay with a Hawaiian-owned cooperative business if you can. A lot of them, Hawaiians generally work in that way. Do not stay in a foreign capitalist, white American capitalist, Japanese capitalist-owned hotel if you can. But ideally, just, you know, don't come because we don't need any more of the. We definitely don't need you moving here, buying houses, jacking the price already, making more homeless people like myself and our family who were homeless on my home island. I don't live in my home island because I can't afford to live here. And I have been driven out of my own home island. Talk about a genocide. The bugs, the germs and the viruses that the Westerners brought did a lot of damage. The new one is disproportionately, the new COVID-19 disproportionately kills Native Hawaiians. We have given disproportionately lack of access to healthcare and the vaccines. We have white rich people coming in, flying in, taking the vaccines meant for Native Hawaiians. Don't do a fucking genocide pushing us out of our land. Don't do a fucking pandemic genocide spreading your fucking, that Wuhan flu. Your American plague. The worst one is your brain plague though. God. Anyways, but you know, it's you know, it is okay. I'm gonna get to the part that I really wanted to. This is something I really wanted to speak about. I'm gonna end on this. This is the good news. Well, not good news for some fucking Western chauvinists, but just this is the difference between the dying Falcon versus the rising dragon. As I said. The top. This is Xinjiang, China, where they have 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses and apartments given to low-income people. They have access to education. They have access to housing. They have eliminated poverty. They have eliminated extreme poverty. They have not all poverty, but extreme poverty. They have virtually. They have like over 99% access to high-speed internet for peoples in China, and this is their modern city, very new built, not full of toxic falling apart pipes, not riddled with terrible wildfires, not with a horrible plutocracy governing and controlling their entire system, with no accountability in their government, with better healthcare, 70 and 80-year-olds routinely getting healthcare checkups, with women having access to IUDs if they need them. Now the West liars called it fucking a genocide. It's just access to fucking healthcare. Things that liberal middle-class women in America still want and are afraid of losing. The Chinese already have in Xinjiang. Housing, healthcare, education. They have 2.5 times as many mosques as they had 10 years ago. They have 4 times the birth rate. They're being overrepresented in universities. Their increases in their wages is higher than the ethnic majority. And then you have America. Black people doing worse than they were doing 50 years ago. They're minorities being killed. They're indigenous people given body bags. Their entire country on fucking fire. Their people, tens of millions being evicted or in the threat of being evicted. 100 million food insecure, starving. 60 times more malnutrition deaths than Vietnam, which is 50 times poorer. This is the rising dragon and the falling Falcon. And the story of the winter for soldiers, springtime for poverty alleviators. Let's talk about the poverty alleviators and stop talking about these fucking clowns dying in America for a little bit. So, in China, Jack Ma publicly criticized. Jack Ma is one of the richest people in China, or if not the richest, if I'm not mistaken, may have changed now. The CEO of Alibaba, like the Chinese Amazon, publicly criticized Chinese finance regulators in Shanghai. That was the last straw for the Chinese Communist Party. The government said, you will not mess with us on that, right? You won't dictate how the financial sector works. Unlike the United States, which bends over backwards, including Barack Obama took multi-millions of dollars alone from Wall Street. Goldman Sachs alone was like in the millions, the highest ever of any candidate. They do exactly whatever Wall Street wants, including including in the middle of the 08-09 financial crisis, where the highest criminals who took Applebee's waitresses in Florida with $7 an hour terrible wages, sold them a $1.5 million no income, no jobs, no assets McMansion, collateral. Took that and repackaged it into collateralized debt obligation in the regional bank. Took the regional bank's CDO, converted that into a Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, CDS, credit default swap, sold that into your mommy and your daddy's pension fund for your doctors, nurses, lawyers, teachers, burned all of your municipal bonds. So that's why you got toxic drinking water. That's why you got paying $300 and you get evicted because you don't pay your toxic drinking water bill in Baltimore, in Los Angeles. That's what happened to the entire future of the United States. Everything went straight to Wall Street, right? No regulation, zero bankers from that entire period up till now, and they've only increased their total malfeasance and fraud. It's only gone up a magnitude in the total multi-tens of trillions of dollars of central bank printed straight into these giant Wall Street banks to play funny money, buy up all the real estate, buy up Elon Musk's fucking new Starbase in Texas, buy up all the electrical grid, which is why Texas is on fire. Texas is on ice. California going on fire, and everybody's out of electricity. PG&E to the Texas utilities, all the real estate, all the millions of people under Steve Mnuchin, Donald Trump's financial Treasury Secretary, who worked with Kamala Harris, who did not prosecute Steve when Kamala had the power to as the California prosecutor. Steve took millions of people's houses under One West Bank. Grandma's 98-year-old Granny Mae, with a 37-cent discrepancy because she can't get the healthcare for her vision. She didn't read. She wrote a 7 instead of a 1. Steve Mnuchin was taking houses from these people for these terrible, just tiny little, like pencil scratch mistakes, stealing houses from people. What did the United States do? Just as the difference between China and the United States. The United States gifted them in this year, in 2020, last year, $6 trillion, the disproportionate amounts of which went straight to Wall Street. Wall Street and DC run, and DC, and they're all basically the same. They run the capital finance banks and corporate heads and billionaire class run the United States. It's a total plutocracy. There is zero accountability, no heads rolls, no Wall Street bankers at the highest level went to jail, saw a single second of prison, no consequence. The fucking Sacklers killed 700,000 Americans and counting. The 5th leading cause of death after COVID-19 would be if COVID-19, if America had a healthcare system. It doesn't. It has a universal death care system. They are running away with $10 billion for murdering you. There is no law in the United States whatsoever. Jack Ma, in contrast, Jack Ma publicly criticized Chinese finance regulation. Just said these regulations are too strict. The government said, you guys don't mess with us. You won't dictate how finance sector works. The Chinese Communist Party of China and the Chinese government suspended the biggest IPO in history. It's like bigger than Facebook, bigger than Google's, bigger than any Elon Musk, Tesla, or anything. The biggest, public offering of a corporation in the history of planet Earth. The Ant Group, $37 billion. That's a huge amount of money to be made in that IPO. This is where Mark Zuckerberg made tens of billions of dollars. This is where people like the CEOs that were in the cabinets of the United States Democrats, like, I shouldn't say their name because we're streaming from the Death Star satellites right now. But anyway, one of the biggest companies, executives, starts with a G, rhymes with bugle, took multi-trillion, made billions of dollars, and the CEOs and the executives made billions of dollars in the initial public offering. That's how this works. It's one of the big times for the corporate executives. The Chinese government's $37 billion ant group for Jack Ma, they pulled the plug on it. They said you will not. This will not happen. You remember Jack Ma he actually disappeared for a while. Remember that? Unknown what actually happened to him. But they said you're not gonna do this. They basically, that's how you know that there's some actual, like, it's not perfect, but there is some amount, the power of the 95% by Harvard. Again, I know I've talked a lot of shit about Harvard, but I mean, there's people who will do some research there sometimes, right? Harvard, but again, they don't. But the point more there is that they don't have Harvard is the fucking empire's Palpatine training facility. They don't have an interest in giving the Chinese a good rating on the approval of the Communist Party of China, do they? Right? The Ivy League school studies showed 90 plus to 95% approval of the Chinese government. Yeah. So they actually have, America is like less than 50%. It's always been that way. Routinely, you get elected, maybe you get 40, 50, it drops to like 30, 20. America doesn't have a government. America has a plutocracy. It's a landfill wearing a Gucci belt, and it's a government by the Gucci belt, for the Gucci belt, of the fucking Gucci belt. America is a joke country. There's no country there. It's the 10,000 richest people in America have a government. It's called, the Chinese actually called this out in Alaska. They said, United States, your government, you, Anthony Blinken, you, Biden, you, Kamala, you don't represent the world. United States, you do not represent the world in the opinion of the world. You don't even represent the opinion of the 330 million citizens of the United States, Anthony Blinken. You represent yourself. You represent DC and Wall Street, and that's it. So they actually said what Silver Spook says. So, I mean, the Chinese government, I mean, it's like Chinese, the CPC, wow, like, you know, 3 Silver Spooks out of 4. You know, I might have thrown in some extremely dark gallows humor, satirical comedy, and reference every movie in existence. But 3 Silver Spooks out of 4 just for saying that. I mean, you see the Chinese. Sometimes the Chiness government says a true thing. American government, they couldn't say a true thing if they're fucking Star Destroyers. I'm sorry, they're USS Arizona's. I'm sorry, that one already sunk. Their USS War Criminal, any U.S. president, was on fire, right, and melting, falling into the sea, which they are. 180 million gallons of diesel is currently spilling into my family, my native Hawaiian family's home island, poisoning my friends and family. So I wish that China, can you come clean that up? Because America's not going to do it. They want to kill us because America does genocide against indigenous peoples like Native Hawaiian. So China, if you can come down and help us out, clean it up, that'll be really cool, you know. And also, good job saying 2 things, like America's government doesn't represent the world. It doesn't even represent its own citizens. It only represents its own self, which is a plutocracy. So again, correct. This is a different system that the West have to understand. They punished the billionaire. They have beheaded. They have literally executed 14 billionaires. They have mass arrested hundreds of executives in Shanghai, in Shenzhen, in multi-millionaires in corporations. They rounded up entire, like, you know, I talk about the 200th floor of Bloomberg's penthouse with the revolving French fusion restaurant that costs $3,000 a plate, and you have fucking war criminals like Tony Blair, you know, the Saudi prince, Saudi F-35 purchaser, Russian oligarch, American oligarch, Uyghur, 6th richest person in the country, come over and try to start genocide lies so that they can like go back and fucking run the Xinjiang region like a feudal American or British or neo-feudal lord. You know, like in the Bloomberg's towers, the gold, the skies, the bank vaults built of steel girder, you know, polarized glass and electrical wiring to turn on their fucking disco parties on the 200th floor in Bloomberg's fucking penthouses that he owns and gentrified, that are unoccupied, because we don't make real estate for people to live in. We make real estate for fucking billionaires to store their ill-gotten blood money in. But anyways, at the top of that penthouse, In China, they arrest everybody. They're like sitting in they're like, oh my God, this Latin Thai fusion restaurant with all these imported Asian sex workers that we're fucking and murdering, and nobody's gonna arrest us because guess what? We're billionaires and there's no law in the United States. This is like the best party ever. They're like oxygen bar. Oh, that smells just like Tony Blair's farts. Oh my God, that smells like Thomas Jefferson's farts. Let's all huff other white people's fucking farts, and then like that'll increase our intelligence, and then we'll get more jobs in DC. Oh yeah, smoking cocaine and fucking Tony Blair's and fucking Biden's farts. Oh shit, you know, Biden selling his farts, 3 million a huff. You know, that's called planetary biggest war criminals OnlyFans. But anyways, so in that penthouse when they're selling and smelling each other's fucking farts, or was it rhetoric? It's the same thing. This is equal educational content. Inside of that penthouse, if it was in China, the CPC would send police up to the top floor or in a helicopter, you know, surrounded like the U.S. government in a fake movie about Latin American drug traffickers in Venezuela. You know, oh, Maduro, he's smoking all of his cocaine with Stalin marks killing 100 trillion people, and there's evil, evil Allende, or was it Salvador Morales? Fuck, I don't know. Shit, fuck. Let's make some movie about South America, put it on Hollywood movies list, and put it in fucking, you know. In America, they make movies about a bunch of Latin American socialist leaders and communist leaders being drug dealers getting rounded up with SWAT teams. You know, in China, they actually round up the actual criminals, right? They frog march them off in fucking cuffs. Oh shit! Oh shit! I was here with Hunter Biden in a Chinese city trying to make deals, being a reactionary billionaire fucking owner of the fucking American with 30% stock in the fucking Exxon. Oh shit! Now I'm getting rounded up. Oh shit! Please don't chop my head off, Chinese government. Anyways, so in America, they execute the black people, right? Donald Trump prided himself on, we killed the first black person. We federally executed the first black person. We just go in Texas, I shoot soda cans, I shoot all kind of cans. Africans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, right? America's like, we kill all the black people. In China, like, we kill all the billionaires. And also the landlords, like under mouth. But anyways, so they arrest the executives, and oh, but my freedoms. Where's my freedom? Where's my freedom to have 35 Van Goghs and a bucket of cocaine and kill sex workers in a fucking snuff film that I just made in 9mm? You know, that's the freedom that Americans give you. The freedom for billionaires to fuck and kill whoever they want. In Afghanistan, in their penthouse party. In China, you don't have that freedom. You try to do that, they fucking round you up and then you get fucking killed. You get killed for doing crimes, for doing the biggest crimes, right? Not always, not perfectly, but I mean, that's happened a lot. Jack Ma, I don't know what happened to him, but he disappeared for a while. You know, it's like, Jack Ma, you're having too many penthouse parties, okay? This is not America. You can't you can't be Jeff Bezos, make $100-something billion in a year, making all your people piss in fucking containers, you know, herniating their back and destroying their body, being on fentanyl and dying because you're overworking them, making them jump and break their literal fucking cervical membranes to grab a box full of fucking Baby Yoda t-shirts. This is not America, Jack Ma. You can't be the richest person on the world and then pay negative $180 million in taxes and have your fucking Seattle City 34% college student homeless people. You can't do that, Jack. You're not Jeff. This is fucking Communist Party of China's China. This is fucking the people's China. That's not perfect, but we don't fucking let the billionaires just do whatever the fuck they want. So now, Jeff, I'm sorry, now Jack, you're gonna come with us now. Let's have a little talk. Let's have a little, you know. And then China frog marches off the billionaire like Americans frog marching off a black person standing in front of a 7-Eleven. You know, hey Jamal, it's time to go to prison because you stood in front of the 7-Eleven while black, and I need to make my fucking mortgage payment. So this is your gun, okay? What do you want? You want a Desert Eagle? I got it. Let's look. Okay, these are the water guns for the 13-year-old Tamir Rices that we're gonna murder later on. Desert Eagle 5.0, you want that? It's gold. Yeah, that suits you. You look like a gangster, right? You like gold guns? Here, like this, you wanna hold it like this? Here, Jamal, there's your gun. Now your fingerprints are on it. I'm a white police officer. You're going to prison forever. The judge's not gonna believe you. The AI that the judge was replaced by is definitely not gonna believe you because the AI is fucking programmed by all of our racist policing and racist slave auctioning, which is what the court system is for in the United States. And see, when you go to China, it's like, oh shit, you are a poor ethnic minority like a black person in America. Here, have a free 3-bedroom, Oh my goodness, you're an ethnic minority. Here, you're poor. You are possibly going to get into negative activity like crime, like as a social worker and STEM teacher working with ethnic minorities, I know all about this shit. You might get into drug dealing, crime, possibly extremist terrorism, trained by the United States in ISIS facilities and the declassification of EITM and other terrorist organizations as spilling into from Afghanistan into Xinjiang. Oh no, ethnic minority that is having a difficult time. Here, have a free house. Here, have a good paying job. Here, have free training. Here, have free access to education. Here, have your culture empowered. Unlike indigenous Native Hawaiians who had our culture banned, who have our language still banned, who are fucking mass arresting us on Mauna Kea, the biggest police and military action in history. Unlike the black people, here, have zero education. Have a fucking, you know, I'll walk the corner to the rubble that used to be a library, line up to the mine cemetery now. What they don't keep what we don't know keeps the contracts alive and moving. Here, Uyghur, have lots of education so that the contracts don't keep alive. Here, don't have rubble, have a library. We built 7,000 libraries, in fact, and the libraries are stocked full of Uyghur language books. Here, ethnic minority, have an entire fresh pipes, unlike all of the United States. Even the wealthy parts of fucking even parts of Orange County have fallen apart fucking pipes. We're not gonna build it. You're gonna build it. You're not gonna build it for Elon Musk little kiddos. You're so mean. Don't you care about human beings like billionaire white children? Everyone else is not a human being in America. But no, here, have free brand new water pipes that are better than millionaire upstate New Yorkers' water pipes. That spout actual H2O instead of fucking dog feces and liquid fucking Drano. Here. Anyways, that's the difference. This is a different system the West have to understand. The Australian media is basically fully owned. Even the small newspapers manipulates the media. Or BlackRock, with Jeff Bezos buying up Washington Post, massive CIA contracts for cloud services. That level of influence, billionaires owning the entire society, is something that is the West loves that. You know, Australia, Rupert Murdoch, he literally owns virtually all. Canada, same thing. Fun fact: there is a Canadian billionaire. Is it Holly had the data on this one, but it's a Canadian billionaire who owns 80 like dozens and dozens of newspapers. He also owns Hawaiian news. He owns Washington, California, and Hawaiian newspapers, as well as newspapers all across Canada, just like Rupert Murdoch. You know what he wants to do? He wants to turn Canada into the center for fossil fuels of the planet. It's like Rupert Murdoch versus the Canadian. It's like Rupert Murdoch's over there like, I want to buy all of Australia's news networks and also Fox, which is the biggest news network in the fucking United States. That surpasses CNN and MSNBC combined. 30% of watchers are Democrat, not all Republican. It's just Americans. It's a race factory. Basically, racist factory being led around by a fucking Australian mogul, fucking Citizen Kane, Canada Citizen Kane. You've got fucking the UK is a fucking rag. BBC is over there getting its ass dragged by the Grey Zone, and it's like, oh, did we say something wrong? No, we didn't. No, because I'm British. Look at my pedigree. I have the fucking Palace of Windsor up my ass, you know, in my DNA. But anyways, so this CIA, massive CIA contracts for cloud services through Amazon. The entire Western world is owned by its billionaires. France, same story. France is like it's like the cartel for they all come and they stay in the Catholic Church and the French banks. They all come. They have a little stay. They buy a bunch of Gucci. They buy well, they used to. Now they're dying because the Chinese have more money and they can't fucking go shopping because COVID is murdering Europe. But anyways, well, they're murdering themselves with their own Black Death 2.0 that the Europeans and the Western world caused. You know, you could have done a China or a Vietnam or a Cuba and solved it, but you fucking suck. But anyways. Jack Ma, having an open system which would work like the US system would benefit big tycoons like Jack Ma. It would benefit government officials because government officials in bed with these people making money. The government and the United States government and the Wall Street, right? DC and Wall Street work together to make money for themselves, right? They take a revolving door job in DC, or the DC, they get off of their 4 years, their 2-year senator, or their whatever term on these committees. They make sure the wars get approved, and then they go work for Lockheed Martin, they go work for a Wall Street bank, they go work for fucking a giant corporation, back and forth. So DC and Wall Street, you know, it's the military industrial complex, it's the Wall Street industrial, it's all the industrial complex. It's government by foreign of the private capitalist wealthy. It is the opposite. and these systems are ultimately, but the systems of arresting and getting rid of people like Jack Ma, or dealing with him and stopping him from what he's doing, are ultimately, the West calls that limiting freedoms. They call that authoritarian, right? But what that is helping the ordinary person. You know, it's arresting people who need to be arrested, not some black kid in the ghetto, not 25 or 200, not hundreds of people in LA fucking forced to live in a tent city and then arresting them all for living in a fucking a squatted area, not for kicking people out of houses, which is most of people in Oahu, most cities. That's what the cops do, is brutalize homeless, brutalize people getting asking for a raise, brutalize, evict, and brutalize tenants. And round up black people for their fucking slave factories, right? In China, you're in trouble if you are wealthy and powerful, which is the way that you want it. And when you have a functioning society, right? That's doing for the people as opposed to doing for the rich and the powerful and the white. It is the opposite of the US. You're at risk when you are at risk in China when you get to that level of influence. You're at risk in the United States when you are poorer, less privileged, less empowered, less connected. You're on top of the world in the US. You can do whatever you want. The top 5 biggest banks of them, but a few important differences too, of now versus 20 years ago. The top 5 biggest banks of them, of the top 5 biggest banks, 4 of them are in China. Number 4 is JP Morgan. That's a complete change from 20 years ago. Virtually all of them were in the West. In 2003, the entire Chinese industry could produce less than 100 films, revenue less than 1 billion yuan. Last year, in the pandemic, the Chinese film industry surpassed Hollywood. More than 1,000 films per year in China. 15 years ago, that was only 100. So in 15 years, they've gone up 10 times the number of films that they make each year. They have been building capacity, infrastructure, banks. They had 2,000 theaters, now 11,000. Recently, they've created and they have millions. They have, again, 850 million people lifted out of poverty. What does that mean? That means that hundreds of millions of people are now consumers. They're consuming more and more. They can buy movies, they can buy clothes. The Chinese consumer is surpassed the American consumer. Total America, that's what it is. America had the number one, the consumer of first and last resort. 70% of America's economy was just its own buying, often on credit, often on reverse mortgage houses. But now the Chinese have surpassed all of that. Not only has the Chinese film industry surpassed the US, Mulan, the Avatar rescreen, and Wonder Woman all tanked in China. This is another important difference. The Chinese are not, they say the Chinese before 1990, like looked up to, you know, that woman from Hong Kong looked up to the UK. UK is much better than Hong Kong. The Western world is better than China. There's career, there's education. I could be a singer, a dancer, a painter. I could be in tech, I could be in finance. I could have a great life in the UK. That's all reversed. So the kind of Gen X, boomer, Gen X era, it's not really, they're not Gen X or boomers, but people who are born before 1990, like 1980, 70, people who are like 60, 50, 60, 70 now, they looked up to the United States more. But young people now, born in the 90s, like basically like mid-millennial to Gen Z, they look at China, look at their own people, which you should. They look at their own people and they say, we have so many great things to offer. We are a great place. Why would I want to move away? Why would I move away from China when we have a great society, we have great infrastructure, we have great socially, we're not mass arresting all the black people. If I go to Britain, I'm gonna be beaten, brutalized, possibly acid attacked. If I go to America, I could be murdered, and police are gonna like worry about the feelings of the murderer. The inequality is so terrible. Infrastructure is abysmal. America is like a collapsing roads, bridges, trains, and stuff. Biden's talking about shoring that up, but I mean, good luck getting $1 billion to leave DC without 90% of it going straight into some fucking oligarch's bank account. Anyways, but you know, so and their own culture, their Chinese are watching their own films. It dropped. It used to be years ago. It went from 36% to 16%. So the mean 84% of revenue. So it used to be 36% of the movies the Chinese will watch were movies coming outside. But that's dropped to 16, so it's gone down by almost 3 times. The Chinese are like, why are we watching these American movies? I think some of them are figuring out, hey, you know these American movies? they're kind of racist against us. This Mulan story is not told because now they have good education. Now they understand a lot. You know, a lot of this generation understands a lot more about how imperialism works. Not that they didn't before, but a lot more of them have higher levels of university education in universities that actually have places of learning in China. See, in America, they have places of brain poison, like I said. But over there, that you could actually learn, wow, imperialism and planetary control by having billionaire philanthropist Armsley the Playboy be the #1 hero for hundreds of millions of people in the West. Guess what? That creates people worshiping Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who are fucking billionaire fucking playboys who work with the military industrial complex. So they're going, wow, we should make more of our own movies to watch. Why are we watching Avatar? Why are we watching Wonder Woman? Why do I need to watch this Marvel fucking superhero movie about Star Spangled Underpants Captain America saving the world? You aren't saving the world. In fact, you're extremely racist. In fact, you're destroying the world. In fact, you're trying to destroy us. And they're correct. Drop from 36 means that 84% of sin is coming from domestic films. The top 10 films in China were all domestic. Questions around the kind of stories are told. My People, My Homeland, which if you have a chance to take a look at it, I highly recommend checking out the movie. It's I don't know the word in Chinese, but My People, My Homeland was the first highest grossing movie of 2020 last year. Completely reversed from the United States in the West. The year before that, it was American movies. This year, the top let's see. Let me get bad. Okay, the top #1 movie is The 800, Chinese made movie. Second, that's 461 million gross. The second movie, My People, My Homeland, 433 million. Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, the Captain Marvels, Mulan, rescreen of Avatar, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. That's really important because I often talk about the importance of popular culture in Neofeud, right? My pony princess feudalism is magic. All the princesses are so pretty and they have lots of friends and orbital castles. I'm gonna marry a prince and live in a castle someday, right? That's what the movies and the films and the TV and entertainment creates the narratives that sustain the cultures of the places that they're in and propagandize and maintain the story of the American dream, the story of American greatness, the greatest country in the world, right? Capitalism and an irrational pursuit of individual self-interest and private capital being the greatest ideal. If America can't, like I said this recently, you know what you want, China, what you want to do is make bigger, better, more entertaining, and more mass-watched movies than the United States worldwide, and you will begin to alter the vision, you will begin to alter the planetary opinion towards you away from America. And now that's happening. That is happening. Let me see. So, I'm just trying to find this data on this one. Bad Boys for Life. Bad Boys for Life. Bad Boys for Life. Okay, so the first American movie, starring 2 black guys, I might add. But the first American movie that shows you is Will Smith. Which is terrible. Wife and son of wife and son of a Mexican drug lord. Okay, Mexican drug lord, Mexican drug lord, Mexican drug lord, Mexican drug lord, South American, Central American drug lord. Okay, so Bad Boys for Life is American propaganda to continue the Monroe Doctrine of keeping Latin America as America's backyard to exploit, kill, and fucking farm cocaine out of. Okay, good job, Will Smith, you fucking propagandist. Nice work. Anyways, Bad Boys for Life was #3. After that, it's an Asian movie. So 1 and 2, 800 and My People, My Homeland. #1 and #2. My People, My Homeland is a film. Let me see if I can get that up here. So I get it up on the screen here. My People, My Homeland is a Chinese movie about. Here's a picture of the cover of it. Is a 2020 Chinese anthology comedy film. Consists of 5 short stories that take place in Beijing, Guizhou, Shaanxi, Hangzhou, and Shenyang. The film was a financial success, over 433 million worldwide in the pandemic year when movie theaters were like 75% under capacity. America barely can get a movie theater open nowadays without killing half of its fucking country. Beijing, an interesting story about Zhang Beijing helping his uncle's treatment in Beijing. UFO appeared in Afu. Anyways, I'll talk about it more kind of in a summarized form. But you can, I recommend checking out. This is, again, second highest grossing film of the entire year. This is the new Infinity War, and this is why this is part of the rising communist anti-imperialist dragon, the falling of the imperialist empire is this movie. And the fact that it beat every Marvel movie, every superhero movie, every American movie, every Western movie. This movie, My People, My Homeland, where is it? Film about a mother and daughter. It's semi-autobiographical. Mom dies. She goes back in time. Hi Mom was another film that was very popular. Mother dies. She goes back in time to the 1980s to visit her daughter. The daughter goes back in 1980s to visit her mom as a young person. And this movie, woman director, woman star, single biggest grossing film made by a woman director ever in history. Sorry, I'm talking about, this is another movie made in China. This last year, they made the single biggest grossing film made by a woman director ever in history. Starring a woman. Not a Hollywood sequel, not an action movie, not a franchise, not a hero movie, not a star, not Captain Falcon, military industrial complex, good, I'm gonna go save Libya with my fucking rocket propelled underwear bombs and my punching out some random bad person in a fucking helicopter. No, it's a Chinese movie about what a woman would say. Well, sorry, it's a Chinese woman going back in time to visit her mother as a young woman. What they would say to each other, and it's about the changes that China has undergone over the last 40 years, right? With going from villages with no running, with barely any running water, no sanitation, in extreme poverty, to people driving Audis on the street, brand new houses, better electrical and high-speed rail, and environmentally friendly renewable energy grids than the United States by far. So this film was an important film, and there was also trying to find that the synopsis. One of the top 3 films of China. My People, My Country is a film about poverty alleviation. It was a comedy, a series of 5 stories about how poverty alleviation is done. You can laugh and you cry. It's great. Again, it's entertaining, right? It's like they say it's equivalent to like Steven Spielberg level producers, directors. It's like Steven Spielberg, Chris Hemsworth, The Rock level actors, producers, writers. It's the top tier of filmmakers, right? That's why it's one of the highest grossing movies of the year. Very funny, very entertaining. So again, this movie about poverty alleviation is a comedy series of 5 stories. You laugh, you cry. It's great. It's Ma Lung. I am one of the main characters is Ma Lung from this institute. I've recently graduated. I'm from this town. I'm from this country. I'm from this city. I live 5 kilometers from this town. But I'm going to go to. I'm about to go to Russia, St. Petersburg Fine Arts Institute, and I'm going to be a fancy painter. But what I really want to do, this is a Chinese person in the movie, the Chinese person saying, but what I really want to do is I want to be deployed as a Communist Party member, Chinese Communist Party member, to a poverty-stricken village as a social worker. Hey, that's what I did while be paid nothing and then unable to really help kids because I'm so under-resourced. But anyways, I talk about the difference in social work in America versus social work in China. Poverty alleviation is what I was assigned to do. But anyways, so I was assigned to a poverty-stricken village. So he does this, but the whole time, the character creates a facade that he wants to study fancy fine art to trick his wife. Because his wife thinks that he's going to go study fancy fine art, right? The whole story is about the neighbors, the peasants, the workers in this poor village, party members, in a huge scheme to make sure that his pregnant wife doesn't get upset that he's doing poverty alleviation, right? Instead of this other thing. Because she thinks that will be more prestigious and make him more money, right? To become some fancy, fine artist. The village chief is actually dressing up like a Russian roommate, learning Russian words. So when the wife calls on the video call, like on the Zoom call, she sees, oh, the Russian roommate is waking up. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Let me call you right back. And then, they're doing like Russian dances and they're like pretending to speak Russian phrases. Oh, photoshopping like the Kremlin behind them. Oh yeah, here I am looking at the Kremlin. This is St. Petersburg University, and it's just like a cardboard cutout. Yeah, honey, it's a comedy, right? So it's like it's entertaining, it's funny. And then he says, sorry, honey, let me call you back. And suddenly there's a problem with the internet. So all the people, all the social workers that are like wearing Russian hats and like, you know, they're like speaking like fake Russian in this village where they're trying to alleviate poverty, right? So it's not the entertaining part is the comedy. It's like Adam Sandler. It's like a Mike Myers film, but it's not just stupid, dumbass, gross comedy that is meaningless or a little. But it's a story about the virtues, glorification of and valorization of poverty alleviation, stuff that should be supported and said, this is a good thing, this is a great thing to do. This is somebody who's well off in China, right? Choosing to not go to fancy college, to go to poor village. And the entertaining part is all the comedy. But what you and everybody is on the phone call, right, in this village, and they're like, they all freeze, like freeze in the middle of their dance, and the guy's like, oh, I'm so sorry, honey. Sorry, it looks like the internet's going out. Like when she asks a question that he can't really answer, right? It's like so, hey, how do I say, hi, I'm from such and such in Russian, or like, oh, where is the, oh, I heard that there's a cathedral, a beautiful Russian cathedral right here next to, this, building in Russia, right? And he's like, oh shit. We just constructed a set. So everybody on camera while they're doing the video pretend to freeze, like the phone's running out of juice or something, and it's just like funny scenes like that. So it's a comedy, right? That outgrossed Wonder Woman, outgrossed every Marvel movie, outgrossed the biggest Will Smith movie, every Hollywood action movie, outgrossed every Western movie last year, and it is a movie that is about. That is about poverty alleviation. And she calls video, says, suddenly there's a problem with the internet and everyone becomes frozen in place. There's a difficult question, can't answer. I already said that. It's the opposite of the US, right? I'm gonna read, there is a book that was written, speaking of the I often talk about the importance. I'm gonna finish very soon. I know it's getting late. Yeah, it's 1:47. I'm gonna get, but the narratives told from Hollywood, from the film, the entertainment industry, right? People pay attention more, except for a handful of like very, very, very textual nerds who love reading dry shit. Most people gain their core emotional, like in Inside Out, the core experiences, core emotional, psychological, driving forces in their psyche, in their persona, in their personality, right? Who they are, through these experiences. And movies, films, TV shows can create and drive home deep emotional experiences in a way that a lot of books have difficulty reaching large and wide audiences, right? And this is part of why the United States, the intelligence agencies and the United States elite knew that Hollywood was central. A lot of this they also got from Hitler. Moved a lot through Goebbels propaganda. They took a lot from that, and they knew that they needed to make better, stronger propaganda to counter the Soviet Union, whatever you think about it, to counter their narrative about communism, about anti-private capitalist ownership, reinforcing and the individualism, selfish individualism as the American ideal, right? And let me see if I can get this here. And where the hell is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to find my little link here. Yeah, so Ayn Rand, Capitalism, Individual Realism, Ayn Rand in 1947. You know Ayn Rand? The core of neoliberalism, the core of the latter half of the 20th century and on American capitalism, right? Post-World War II capitalism, Ayn Rand, one of the core thinker, did some thinking technically, but a lot of the ideological underpinnings, right, of the neoliberal era, definitely, and of the 20th, in the Cold War era. Ayn Rand in 1947 wrote, the author of Atlas Shrugged, etc., the Screen Actors Guide, the Screen Guide for Americans, written by the Motion Picture Association for the Preservation of American Ideals, okay? As a way to root out, during the McCarthy era, communist, socialist values for movies, and promote capitalist and individualist ones. These are some, I'm going to give it to you. You can look this up for yourself, okay? The Screen Guide for Americans. There you go. Screen Guide for Americans. Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals, Beverly Hills, California. The influence of communists in Hollywood is due not to their power, but to the unthinking carelessness of those who profess to oppose them. Red propaganda has been put over in some films produced by innocent men, often by loyal Americans who deplore the spread of communism throughout the world and wonder why it is spreading. If you wish to protect your pictures, this is by Ayn Rand. If you wish to protect your pictures from being used for communistic purposes, the first thing to do is to drop the delusion that political propaganda consists only of political slogans. Politics is not a separate field in itself. Political ideas do not come out of thin air. They are the result of the moral premises which men have accepted. Whatever people believe to be good, right, and proper human actions, that will determine their political opinions. If men believe that every independent action is vicious, they will vote for every measure to control human beings, to suppress human freedom. If they believe that American system is unjust, they will support those who wish to destroy it. The purpose of the communists in Hollywood is not the production of political movies openly advocating communism. Their purpose is to corrupt our moral premises by corrupting non-political movies, by introducing small, casual bits of propaganda into innocent stories, thus making people absorb the basic premises of collectivism by indirection and implication. By extension, the purpose of capitalists and American imperialists and individualists and Western exceptionalists in Hollywood is to corrupt our moral premises by corrupting non-political movies, by introducing small, casual bits of capitalist American military-industrial complex propaganda into innocent stories, thus making people absorb the basic premises of... Anyway, this is like saying in dry-ass fucking academies what I say all the time, but it's Ayn Rand saying it for me, so thanks a lot. Few people would take communism straight, but its constant stream of hints, lines, touches, and suggestions battering the public from the screen will act like the drops of water that split a rock if continued long enough. You know, 40 cowboy movies later, with a strong white man, individual with a gun, taking down the bad criminals, and then riding off like a lone ranger in the good, bad, and the ugly, squinting in a very white, pissed-off man, angry way into a camera like Clint Eastwood, blowing away with a revolver all the baddies with his gun. 40 years later, after 40, 50, 200, 2,000 movies, TV shows, and raindrops on the head of America, you can crack the American electorate and elect it with a landslide victory. Vote Ronald Reagan, a fucking literal cowboy movie star, as a Republican president that slides America and the world hard towards neoliberalism, hard towards capitalism, towards the Reagan-Thatcher era. Anyways, few people will take communism straight, but a constant stream of hints, lines, touches, and suggestions battering the public from the screen will act like drops of water. We present below a list of the more common devices used to turn non-political pictures into carriers of political propaganda. Like, I don't know, Pitch Perfect 3. It's a comedy about women singing in a cappella groups, and men as well, and non-binary people, I'm not sure, singing in a cappella groups. It's not about the military, but it just happens to have the women singing, you know, Oops, I Did It Again in like some random dubstep remix in Eurovision contest, but from an aircraft carrier, hugging onto American Navy sailors and taking a ride in the Air Force F-15. Oh my God, this F-15 is so amazing. You know, they're like in the F-15, like, I want to take you higher, higher. You know, like singing pop songs in the F-15. I want to bomb you, set you on fire, Yemeni's child. You know, they're just like flying around, like, you know, but it's a comedy. It's funny. It is a guide, it is a guide list for all those who do not wish to help advance the cause of communism. It is intended as a guide, not as a forced restriction upon anyone. We are unalterably opposed to any political industry code, to any group agreement, or any manner of forbidding any political opinion to Why would it be for? Oh no, we would never forbid any political opinions. Why would we forbid anything? Forbidding, that's what the Chinese do. Those insectile aliens that we code in all of our science fiction movies as a bunch of hive mind wasp or ants or cockroaches, and then we wonder why there's Asian hate crimes. But anyway, those Chinese forbid things like the Forbidden City, which we installed a Starbucks in and sold $5 overpriced coffees in. Few people would take communism straight, but a constant, because of colonialism, hints, lines, touches, and suggestions. But anyways, It is intended as a guide, not as forced restriction upon anyone. We are unalterably opposed to any political industry code, to any group agreement, or any manner of forbidding any political opinion to anyone by any form of collective force or pressure. There can be no group insurance in the field of ideas. Each man has to do. This is Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand, she really loves the mans, you know. I mean, but I guess, like, you know, if you're like a 35-year-old disgruntled ex Jordan Petersonian fucking turmeric and beef eater wanting a Stepford wife, Ayn Rand is there for you. Ayn Rand thinks that women did nothing. Like, it's always man did this, man did this, man. Each man has to do his own thinking. We offer, and women have to sit there and massage his feet, suck his cock, and cook and clean. And the man does his own thinking. We merely offer this list to the independent judgment and for the voluntary action of every honest man in the motion picture industry. Anyways, you can feel free to read this. I'm gonna give you some of the tops. Don't take politics lightly. Here's some of the choice picks of Ayn Rand's instructions for Hollywood, which billionaire philanthropist arms deal Playboy, Marvel movies, Disney movies, action movies, all the Rock and Keanu Reeves movies all take these lessons to heart. These are some of these lessons. Don't smear capitalist or free enterprise system. You can't attack rights of freedoms and private property. Don't smear wealth. Don't glorify the collective. Don't deify the common man. Common means communism. Boy Meets World took that to heart, didn't they? With that episode with the three kids working really hard, cooperating collectively, and then they get a C for communism, even though they did better work than everybody else, because working together and not for your rational self-interest is communism, and that's bad, children, in 2018. We still gotta, anyways. Remember, it is the communists that tried to preach the supremacy, superiority, and the holy virtue of the group as opposed to the individual. Don't smear American political institutions. They have their own version of censorship. Anyway, so the Americans have their own version of political censorship. It's just a different agenda, and they don't tell you about it. The Chinese censorship is, please don't fucking spread hate crimes that cause foment hatred and fascism in our country. The Vietnamese have similar. You can't spread lies, hatred. That's what you can't say that. But in America, what you can't do is you can't say anything that encourages the promotion of collective people working together to accomplish goals, which is how people through mutual aid have done everything that they have over the millennia, over tens of millennia, from the native Hawaiians, indigenous people who lived for thousands of years in the majority of civilization, including China, which is a indigenous civilization of 56 plus ethnic groups that have lived for thousands of years in majority disproportionately peace, as opposed to the West, which is a fucking barbarian shithole. But anyways, yeah, no, I'm serious about that. Don't smear the free enterprise system. There you go. Don't smear industrialists. So don't, billionaire philanthropists aren't Iron Man. Don't smear industrialists. Promote Iron Man, a billionaire, capitalist, corporation owner with more money than he needs, fucking sitting around fucking hot tweeting about how I'm gonna save California with my sleep apnea machines, right? Even though he doesn't fucking know that you need ventilators and they were broken sleep apnea machines. Don't smear Elon Musk. This is why I got DMCA'd for hot tweeting Elon Musk and calling out his lies. I literally got DMCA'd by him and CD Projekt Red on the same day because they were just listening to Twitter. Jack Dorsey of Twitter.com, billionaire military propaganda spewer, deleting Breonna Taylor's name off of 3,000 accounts and shoving down Black Lives Matter, shoving down indigenous people off the timeline. Jack Dorsey read Ayn Rand. He read the motion picture screen guide from fucking the Soviet Gusano. But anyways, don't smear wealth. Don't smear the profit motive. Don't smear success. Don't glorify failure. I mean, you know, some of these are like, you know, I mean, you know, but what she means is don't glorify the poor, because the poor are failures. Oh, are you trans? Are you gay? Are you black? Are you brown? You're poor? That's your fault. Are you just poor? Are you poor? Are you an Amazon worker? Don't glorify those clowns, you know? Don't glorify them. Don't say that they have any kind of ethics. Make them look terrible. In fact, make fun of the poor, which is also something China has banned off of TikTok. 600 plus accounts were suspended for making fun of and attacking poor people and glorifying wealth. That literally is the terms of service of TikTok and of Chinese media is don't glorify wealth. People were like in China, I'm making it rain. Look at the private jet I have behind me. You want to learn how to do that? Buy my book, $72 on Alibaba. They got their account deleted because even their social media, their movie media and their social media bans the glorification of wealth in China. What do they do in America when you have poor people, right? How does America treat its rich people, right? It's Kardashians, it's Musks, it's Bezoses, right? It's Gates, right? As fucking saviors of the goddamn universe. Anyway, they're listening to Ayn Rand. So good job listening to that. Very good. Don't deify the common man. The common man is the worst slogan of communism. I think Comrade Kennedy of African in Canada, doing a lot of important education work, said the point is to not worship gods and say, oh, Satan made me do this. They're talking about Satanism. It's to become gods. We each find the God in ourselves, and we each collectively, you know, and metaphorically, literally and also metaphorically, we each are collectively God. We collectively empower ourselves. We collectively make our reality, and we can make it together. We don't look up to, you know, the Christian God, the monolithic God, and delete all of our indigeneity, and then just worship that, and then worship the priest that represent, or worship the king, right? Our Father who art in heaven, and hallowed be the name on earth as it is in heaven. We each become, and so anyway, but that's a kind of I'm connecting a lot of things there, but no, we should not necessarily the man is God, but I mean the common person must be looked up to, as opposed to the superhero who is the new Hercules, who is the new Zeus, who is the new Thor. Literally, Thor is the new Thor. Thor is the comic. Thor is the Thor of old in the Norse era, and the Thor is the new Thor of the mythology of the present. No, we don't look up to Thor. Thor is not gonna fucking save you with his fucking hammer and his fucking, I don't care if he has a beer belly, his six-pack abs, his fucking Thanos snapping suit. I don't care if he has the Lord of Sparkles, the Lord of Lightning, or the Lord of fucking giving you your fucking $15 and your health care. Thor is not gonna give you your health care. You are gonna give you your health care. You are a god, not fucking Thor, not fucking space white Aryan Jesus. You are God. You are that which will save you. You, all of you, the common people. That's why Ayn Rand is like, no, you can't put the common people on a pedestal. Put superheroes, especially white ones, especially cowboys, especially the military, like the Falcon, on the fucking pedestal, and then you will have a barbarian, white supremacist, capitalist, collapsing neo-feudal shithole. Anyways, don't glorify the collective. Same thing. Don't smear an independent man. Independent man is the best thing. I mean, independent women, smear the fuck out of them, because I'm a fucking Stepford wife and I don't know, I fucking hate myself, and women should just stay in the fucking kitchen and never leave the kitchen, like Leave It to Beaver, like that, like, you know, like some 50s WandaVision 50s television remake, you know. But that part was kind of weird. But anyways, don't smear independent man. Don't use current events carelessly. Make sure you use current events in a way that does your agenda. Don't smear American political institutions. Never smear. That's why the gray zone. That's why journalism doesn't exist in America, because they took Ayn Rand to heart. They said, "Hey, Ayn Rand, who wrote the literal Bible for all of Hollywood and the entire American entertainment complex. You are totally right. We should never smear American political institutions." That's why Max Grayzone is getting fucking swatted. That's why Max Grayzone, Max Blumenthal, Grayenthal, Max Blumenzone. Actual journalists in America that criticize America, they're not smearing them, they're just criticizing them. But that's you can't do that. You got to be like the Washington Post, the New York Times, Democracy Now, the Reuters, BBC, like every institution in America, glorifying the political institutions. You can't smear them. You can't smear them. Anyways, these are all included in this book. You can go read it for yourself. It's called, I thought it was very interesting. That is the literal guide for Hollywood. That's how you do a capitalism, destroy yourself a communism. Anyways, and then also MacArthur area, just like arrest all the communist directors and writers. One of the top 3 films in China last year. But anyway, back to China. So the film about poverty alleviation, about the common people working together, about showing in a positive light the common person, the poor person. They're very poor, extreme poor people. Showing that it is better not to self-aggrandize, go to St. Petersburg, go to fancy university, have a beautiful degree, become the L'Oreal head, become a billionaire philanthropist, arms dealer, fucking playboy, become the fucking Kardashian, become rich, become famous, the opposite of the selfish, individualistic, capitalistic American. It is a movie that depicts the highest grossing movie, the second highest grossing movie above every Western movie of 2020 that depicts the service of your common people, the service of common people, the common people themselves, the working together, collectivity, communism itself, the Communist Party, and caring for others before yourself as the highest values. That's important. Ayn Rand is very clear on that. It's about the American ideals, the American values, those things which make America America. She says that. Let me see if I can find that exact phrase in this thing. It's like, these are the things which communists and their sympathizers try to sneak into pictures intended as non-political. These are the things which you must keep out of your scripts if your intention is to make non-political movies. Do not be very careful. Evasions and generalities only help the enemies of Americans by giving people the impression that Americans are principles. There's one where she says, like, America and free enterprise are inseparable. They are one and the same. American ideals, capitalism, and the individual pursuit of their own interests are inseparable from America. They are America, and they must continue to be put at the within the highest regard and propagated in America and throughout the world through American soft cultural imperialism and colonialism, right? Because the rest of the world has watched all of these movies, and so this movie is so important because it is telling a story that is the opposite, right? It is a show that's a comedy. It's entertaining. It's funny, like American movies. It's not as actiony, but that's not what matters. What matters is it holds your attention. You relate to it. You laugh. You cry. You think. You're riveted. You're emotionally connected. You're invested. It's literally installing new core memories into you. If it's a really good movie, it can actually do all those things. It surpasses a lot of what even a lot of even like a year of reading can do. Not that the reading is bad. It's particularly for just the average person who isn't necessarily a nerd. It can do a lot, and it gives everyone a cultural touchstone to relate through. Right? You can say, "Oh, I'm Batman." Everybody knows, right? You can go, you can go, that's all, folks. You can go, this is a 357 Magnum. Blow your head clean off. Or do you feel lucky, punk? And you can have a cowboy in a city, and everybody knows, right? You can say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you can have 80+% of America vote for that dude. The bootstrap, you got it. It's installed. It's a cultural touchstone. Everybody knows. It means it's better to be an individual, getting up on your own horse, working for yourself, by, of, and for yourself, as a private, capitalist, American cowboy. And then you can just say bootstrap. Everybody knows, and everybody relates through that. You can talk about Iron Man. You talk about Hulk. You can make Hulk jokes. You can talk about Disney and Star Wars and Princess. Everybody knows. Let it go. Let it go. Everybody knows. You can install, right? You can talk about Iron Man snap. You can talk about Thanos snap, and instantly that's when billionaire philanthropist Elon Musk, man, saved the entire fucking metaverse, cosmos, universe. How many fucking universes are there? I don't know, but he saved all of them. He fucking snapped them fingers. He kicked that Thanos' ass. You can use the cultural touchstones, right? That also, while not necessarily being political, right, are through implication and nudging and 1,000 water drops, right, installing into everybody's mind. It's more about the meta story and the background. This person, who he is, a wealthy industrial capitalist working with the U.S. military. He's literally Wall Street, Silicon Valley, Hollywood, and the fucking military industrial complex in one person, Iron Man. It's really such a central character. That's why his movies sold the most, and he is the one who saves the entire universe at the end of the day. Because he is core to, he is as central as the Clint Eastwood or the John Wayne cowboy to the boomer. Iron Man is the American capitalist military industrial complex imperial touchstone and core archetype for the 21st century American capitalist nerd, programming drones for the military, stop trying to get the Navy ships to keep going, high frequency trading, Goldman Sachs algorithm programmer. They're gearing away from necessarily the grunt on the ground. They have movies for them. It's the Rock's job to get all the black and brown people to keep going and getting themselves killed, killing other brown people in Iraq and Afghanistan. But then the Iron Man is really essential to get all the nerds, these higher value added Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and military programmers, pilots, the cyber command. You got to get all those guys in there and go like, you can be great like Tony. different story for different needs for a 21st, more educated average populace. Different, but it funnels everybody into the ideals that they need. And then you have a diverse, so you can have, there's more women war criminals. That's Captain Marvel. That's Wonder Woman. You can have more non-white war criminals. You know, that's the Falcon. You know, you have your diversity, right? But the center is still worship your billionaire philanthropist white man fucking playboy. Worship Elon. Worship Bezos. Worship those fuckers, right? That's the center of America into 21st century. So it's really key. One of the top 3 films of the China. So yeah, but in China, poverty alleviation, helping out people in the cities and the towns and the countries, people leaving their wealth to go to the poor. It's actually it's anti-American in the sense of, in America, right? We don't care about anybody poor. America's like, oh, global South, fuck you. I'm gonna get my health care and I'm gonna get my $15 minimum wage. Oh my God, it's so hard. I don't know if I'm gonna get to Iron Man status. I'm a temporary embarrassed millionaire, but I'm gonna be embarrassed my whole life if I don't get a Bernie in there to help me up. Once I get my healthcare for me and my white guy friends, and whatever my class is, my class and race and my intersection of synergistic oppressive systems. I'm a straight white man, or I'm a woman, and I'm gay, but I'm rich and I'm white and I have a good education. I'm Jewish woman and I can go on MSNBC. But once I get to my level of clout and power, fuck everyone else. And a lot of people in America are like, well, we'll get Bernie until I get to a level where I can get back into buying lottery tickets to become a millionaire, and then fuck this socialism thing, right? That's still the way. That's why they all went in for Trump. They're like, fuck this. If I can get it through race, I'm gonna get me some white. I'm gonna get whiteness. I'm gonna make the white stock go to the moon under Trump if I can't get my socialism thingy going. Social, I don't know what is that. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's like socialism, communism, fascism. It's like the same thing, right? I don't fucking know. But give me my healthcare, I think. Okay, now that I got it, fuck all y'all. Especially fuck the global South. Fuck yellow, brown, black people. Fuck you all. Fuck the indigenous fucking people in my own country. But in China, no, you go to the poorest area and you give your life. People died doing this. Wealthier people in wealthier parts of the country, Han Chinese disproportionately, because that's they had they're closer to the wealthier parts. Southeast, you have to go out, and this is the great thing for you to do. Not go and increase your prestige, not go and get a fancy painting degree, not go and get rich. Go to the impoverished rural and mountainous areas. Serve those people. Help them build houses. Help teach them how to read and write. Help teach those people what they need in their life. Help them build their first water supply so they're not fucking dying of cholera, right? The opposite of what America does. Give you cholera, burst your water pipes, poison you with build water pipes, build houses, increase environmental sustainability, build renewable infrastructure for them, build and give away the houses. Help them go from this level of living. Not you. You're gonna go down. You're gonna go down in your standard of living a little, not that far, but you're gonna go down. You're not gonna go up. You're gonna go down, and you're gonna help increase the collective, the common people's access, because you're a fucking communist, actually, for real, not like fake ones, like Western fucking YouTube leftists. You're gonna do an actual communism here, and that is the greatest thing that you can do, and that's such an important thing to do, and that's installed in the background while you're laughing at these jokes about, we're all frozen in where's the cathedral? I don't know. The Kremlin took it down. It's got all these jokes going on, but the movie is really about installing the opposite of the American capitalist, selfish, individualistic values. It's about installing collective values. It's about installing the lauding and the support and the valorization of giving your life to help your common people. It's actual leftist movies. The highest grossing movie, second highest grossing movie in the country, in the world, and a movie that grossed more than every American movie, and that more than anything else. I mean, that is just one of many factors that will mean the end of the imperial, capitalist, Western-centered hellscape, and the beginning of the rising dragon of planetary indigenous, because Chinese, again, it's an indigenous society, living in peace, not invading in perpetuity for thousands of years. They're non-colonial. This is an indigenous future. China is an indigenous future. Vietnam is an indigenous future. The Big Island of Hawaii is an indigenous future. Cuba is well, you know, it's you know, I mean, people's that was a little more complicated, but I mean, they are living in peace and they are living collectively. They're not exploiting. They're not imperializing, right? And you can get to that, right? And part of that, and socialism and communism are important economic factors towards that. But it's also important that they have socialism with Chinese characteristics. I would say actually China is China with socialism characteristics, you know, in a lot of ways. And they brought in socialism in to deal with a lot of the economic system and the problematic imperialism that has happened over the last few hundred years. But anyways, I know it's going a little bit longer than I wanted, but I did want to go through that movie and the difference between that and all the Marvel movies. It's about neighbors, peasant workers, party members, collectivity work is great, promoting national governmental programs, promoting the poverty alleviation program. That's how they got the biggest, that's the biggest success of the world. Not Tesla, not the American, even the American moon landing. This is not the American military, not the American iPhone, not the, what the fuck has America even done recently, right? Not the AI, not the internet. Not all the, you know what's the greatest achievement of humankind? It's 1 billion people coming out of poverty. That in terms of like what is more important for the planet, it is something that the Chinese have achieved. It's greater than every American creation, especially in the 21st century, in the last 40 years. And it should be celebrated. If you are leftist, you are a liar and you are a charlatan and you are fucking fake and you are Western imperialist, chauvinist, and racist if you don't fucking accept this truth. Collectivity is great, promoting national government programs, funny top actors, top level producers. The level of production value is just like it's like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but like even better in terms of production value. I haven't seen it, but this is what everybody's saying. That's why it's the highest grossing film. Seeing the last 20 years of the level of cultural production to a level of where tier 1 cities like Shanghai are willing to go and pay money to watch the film, and it's making billions in revenue, billions of yuan. It is impossible to imagine a Hollywood film producing this and producing this publicly, this content, this format, and the message. Anyway, there's a lot more to say about this. I was listening to a conversation that was happening. It was actually, I recommend subscribing to Daniel Dumbro if you haven't yet. You can learn a lot from that. A lot of stuff that I don't know about all these places. And it was one of many conversations that I was watching. And I investigated more. Holy shit, I didn't realize all this about the United States, Hollywood, about the Chinese film industry, and this film in particular. But not just this film. There's many other films like this that are instilling new values, building new stories. You know, in Game of Thrones, right? Neofeud is a game that's Game of Thrones crossed with cyberpunk hellscape. It's like feudal, medieval, the War of the Roses in Europe, a feudal era overlaid, right? Neofeud, cyberpunk, Blade Runner, dystopian future, cyberpunk future, overlaid with Game of Thrones feudalism. In Game of Thrones, they speak and how neo-feudalism is not that different. Capitalism, feudalism, slavery, and what has been in the West for most of its eras is not that different. In Game of Thrones, there's that scene where at the very last episode, which could have been better, but anyways, at the end of Game of Thrones, you have these stories where you have the story is now that the war is finished, who will be the sit on the throne in King's Landing? Who will be the next leader? Who will be the king of Westeros? And Tyrion is talking about this. Tyrion is like the medieval CIA. He's over there. Okay, who's gonna be the next leader? What story are we gonna tell? Right? What lies are we lie, cheat, and steal? So how are we gonna lie, cheat, and steal for the next 1,000 years? Everybody's production, labor value, their housing, rent, and force them into servitude, serfdom, giving a third of their entire everything, and also their life when the fucking bougie ass rich douchebag wine sippers want us to go fucking die in a war for them. Who is going to represent feudalism for the next 1,000 years? And you know, when we lie, cheat, and steal for the CIA's feudalism. And Tyrion says, he looks through each person and says, your story, it's like I forget Braun, I forget everybody that's there. There's like Braun, that's not quite right. Lannister, oh, that's not, the Lannisters have too much, they it's not right. They're the wrong fit. They were the richest, they're the most powerful. And then they get to the three-eyed raven, right? And he said, oh, yes, you have transcended. You're not of the world. You are external. You are like, you can be like the God King, sort of, because you are kind of like God. You see from all times and all places. You're disconnected from reality. You know, it's a great story to tell while we do whatever. You know, ostensibly it's like, well, we're gonna be the good CIA running the world, right? In the feudal era, we're gonna be the good Wall Street and the DC, right? I mean, who knows how that turned out, right? It's like the Deus Ex ending when you merge with Helios, when you're a super sentient human merged with a super intelligent AI. But anyways, so then but the point is, like, this is the story we're gonna tell, which is that this is a fair and just world. This is the story that will guide the future, right? This is the story that will make the civilization, or civilization in air quotes because it's all barbarism. This will make the narrative that binds together Europe, binds together Britain, binds together France, right? That binds together. The story of feudalism died, and we needed a new story, and we call it capitalism because everybody's head was getting cut off. We're like, we're sick of this. We're sick of this feudalism and worshiping these fucking tyrannical kings, and then they changed the story a little bit. You're all free, independent, rational, self-interested pursuers of your happiness individually, and we're all equal. And man, as Ayn Rand later depicted, Thomas Jefferson's echoed lie, which is that we're all equal and we're all going to pursue our rational self-interest, and we're all temporary embarrassed millionaires, and if we work hard enough, we can all be not kings. We're not kings. We'll just be we'll be justly rewarded billionaires when we work hard enough, because that is the right and the gift and the duty of every man, not women, under Ayn Rand. All the mans, you got to pursue rational self-interest under capitalism, because feudalism, that didn't work out too good. And so anyways, that story of capitalism is what dominated for the last hundreds of years, the West, especially the United States. But now there's a new story. Well, the story has been told in socialist countries, like in Vietnam, where you learn Marxist-Leninism from the age of 5 all the way up. You have installed an alternate story, you know? You don't get the three-eyed Bezos, you know? You don't get the three-eyed Bezos story. You don't get the Jeffersonian story. You don't get the Ayn Rand Motion Picture Association for American Ideals, Capitalism, and Hellscape story. You get you get the truth, and you do get a story. They tell you this is communism. We will work together collectively in cooperation and mutual aid, because this, we believe, is the best system to benefit all people in a not perfectly, but we move towards communism on the path from an imperial capitalist hellish crappy world towards this through socialism and trying to maneuver away while benefiting all people, fighting empires like the United States, fighting capitalist empires. And this is a story that Vietnam tells, right? To unite its country of 100 million people that have beaten COVID, that have 50, 60 times less malnutrition deaths than America, that are doing better than you. You sad fucking loser. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I called you a loser, but you are losing. You're gonna lose. The Asian dragons of communism will win. And the Western leftists are that goofy little thing in the meme with his tongue sticking out and two boogly eyes. But anyways, one day you'll get there, I think, hopefully. But that's the story that they tell, and this is the new story that they're telling to billions of people in China, that your story, American story, is not going to be heard anymore. There are better South Korean science fiction movies like Space Sweepers, which takes a shit all over billionaires, Bezos, private capitalism, and rational self-interest. It's about different people from different countries working together. I would wager why Pacific Rim didn't do as well in the West, but actually did a lot better around the world, because it's about people across the world working together to fight, right? And it's very internationalist. America don't like that. America is supposed to save the world, not Japan and China and Russia and all these other places. No, America comes in and snaps his fingers, and you are all token little back. You're like maybe some sidekicks, maybe no speaking lines. Maybe you can be somebody's sex parlor murder victim, you know, but that's about it. These move films, and Space Sweepers is a Korean film, but it was got a lot of funding and support through Tencent, Chinese. And so but anyway, it is now very late. I gotta get off. Long story long, I'm sorry. Long story long, the dying of the American Falcon and the rising of the communist dragon is happening, and this is going to be a story of the winter for soldiers. Your job is to survive, Winter Soldier. Survive the winter of COVID. Survive the winter of collapse of the US reserve currency and the collapse of the United States economy. Biden is failing and will fail. He's doing a little better than Trump, but he's not doing good enough. He has not undone Wall Street, has not done plutocracy. Wall Street and the military still govern the United States. Nothing has changed. Survive your winter, soldier, stormtrooper. Survive your star-spangled death, your star-spangled winter, stormtrooper. That's your job. And support the indigenous people as part of this rising dragon inside of the United States, around the world. And it is springtime for the poverty alleviators that actually bring people out of poverty, for the social workers. Thank God. I mean, I wish this happened when I was still doing more social work, like full-time. I'm still trying to do that, alleviate poverty as best as we can manage. At the Silver Spook Commune, at the Silver Spook Worker-Owned Cooperative, at the Silver Spook Dragon, you know, the rising Hawaiian Dragon of the Big Island. We're trying our best to do this, but if you are that, you know, and inside of the United States, that means something very different. You don't have the support of a government. You don't have a government. You don't have a society in America. So you have to do little bubbles of mutual aid and be part of that, surviving and helping anybody that you can in your mutual aid, in your tenant org, in your worker org, in your whatever you can get together, supporting Black, Indigenous, non-white people, Black, Indigenous people of color, your trans and your non-binary and your LGBTQ plus comrades in solidarity with the rest of the world. And remember that there are more people, again, around the world. There are 8 times as many non-white people. There are 8 times as many rising dragons, and there are many socialist and communist ones, than there are dying Western imperial falcons. So you have to survive. You will not lead this future. You are going to be the new sidekick. That's a hard thing to accept, I know, for a white guy. That's why they all become Trotskyists, and then they join the DSA and become reactionary fucking pros of the round craft beer makers with the $10,000 of communist Patreon money. It's okay. They're gonna have a hard time. You know, they're gonna have a hard time with that. A lot of white men will have a hard time. But it doesn't matter. They're not the protagonists of this story. But they can play an important role. And everybody will play an important role, you know, in the story of the 21st century, which is an indigenous future. Anyways, that is the end of that. You can check out Neofeud on Steam. Neofeud is a game about all of this stuff, and it's supporting Neofeud 2, which is a game about this fight. Really, a lot of it is about this. What I see is a core story of the 21st century, particularly after the 2010s, 2020s, and on. Neofeud 1 is more of a story of the dying of the Falcon, I would say. It is dying of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Marvel generally, under the US Empire. Neofeud is a dystopic cyberpunk adventure game in the vein of Blade Runner, with an overlay of Game of Thrones like political intrigue and hand-painted stylized visuals. It's a game that is on sale right now, so if you have $4.49 for less than the price of a Star-Spangled Captain America Cinnamon Chai Dolce Latte, you can get an anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist cyberpunk adventure game on Steam. Or you can not get it on Steam. You can get it on itch.io. That's fine. You can also, if you have a second to leave even a very short review, it is greatly appreciated, and it really does help to increase the possibility that this game will show up in the algorithm, because I'll tell you what, the algorithm doesn't do us a lot of favors as a small indie game creator. Neofeud is a lot like Disco Elysium, the final cut, except some people have said Neofeud is more cyberpunk, better social commentary, less frustrating. Neofeud was also fully voice acted before the fucking game came out, so Disco Elysium didn't have that, I'm pretty sure. Disco Elysium has more text and I think a little bit higher production value, but Neofeud, full voice acting, indigenous, native Hawaiian made, more cyberpunk. Very similar though. Disco Elysium is a great game. Disco Elysium is made by people who think Marx and Engels. Talking about communism, it was not made by an American. It was not made actually by a British. It's made by Estonians. So that's an important difference as well. These are, you know, they're Europeans, but you know, they have a different take. It's not made by an American. Not made by Americans. I think it makes a difference. And but anyways, that's nothing to do with Neofeud. If you do like Karl Marx, if you do like your Karl Lee Marx, if you have the marks of capital on your body as a black, brown, indigenous person, Neofeud explored the depths that make up our capitalist reality, and I found the game to be a multidimensional representation of Marx's Das Kapital. Also, thanks a lot to this YouTuber who recently gave Neofeud a review on their YouTube channel, or on, I think it's her, but I'm sorry if I got that wrong. On the YouTube channel. Where is it? On the YouTube channel, this one here, thanks a lot to Cannot Be Tamed for this review of Neofeud. I'm not gonna play it because I don't want to get in trouble. But I just want to show a picture of it.
Not for me. A game that was for me is called Neofeud, and
okay, yeah. Oh.
Did you know that the average adult has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop in their body at any given moment?
I want to hear about your toxic
Seems crazy.
feces. That's disgusting.
A game that was for me is called Neofeud, and
anyways,
this is.
So if you have a second, do check this out by you can jump straight to the Neofeud review if you want to learn about Neofeud. So this is by Cannot Be Tamed, which is like 60,000 person channel, 60,000 subscriber channel, which is which is pretty good. I mean, my channel is like a little over 1,000. Anyways, thanks a lot for reviewing the game, and it's a pretty glowing review. So that's always good. And but thanks for anybody for checking out and playing it. It really does help. You can also find Neofeud on itch.io for Windows, Mac, and Linux if you want to get it there. If you don't like digital rights management, you don't like Steam for whatever reason, you don't have Windows. Neofeud is also, you can be supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/Neofeud for continuing support of what we do here at the Silver Spook Cooperative, the Silver Spook Commune, where there are no bosses and no landlords. The education that we do on the streams, as well as work on Neofeud 2 and Terminus Cyberstar. I'm working on 2 separate games. Terminus Cyberstar is still coming soon. I might talk a little more about that later on. I'm not the producer on that, but from what I hear from the producer, Aaron Victoria, it is coming very soon. Anyways, Silver Spook Games is at Octodon.social is my Mastodon social media account. Mastodon is a decentralized, non-capitalist controlled social media platform like Twitter, but without a billionaire military industrial complex Ayn Rand reader supporting it and manipulating people's eyeballs for Wall Street and DC. You can also follow us though on Twitter because we don't have access to as many eyeballs on Mastodon as Twitter. You can still follow us at SilverSpookGuy as my personal account. At SilverSpookGuy is my personal account. You can also follow at SilverSpook Games, which is my game-related stuff. So at SilverSpook Games minus the E in silver is the game stuff about Neofeud 2 when Neofeud goes on sale, like it's on sale right now, and other games that come out. When Terminus Cyberstar comes out, I will be tweeting about that as well. You can also follow at Terminus C for Terminus Cyberstar, which is a low-poly cyberpunk immersive sim in the vein of late 90s PC games like Deus Ex 1 and System Shock 2. It is a game that is being worked on by, like I said, a handful of folks, not that big. It's a cyberpunk RPG in that sense, it's like Cyberpunk 2077. It is not in the sense that it's not a giant AAA game, and we don't make bones about being political in our games. It is a political game where you play a literal ICE concentration camp escapee, which the squad, including AOC, is trying to play down because AOC is doing a fucking shill for the Empire now, apparently, and that sucks. But anyways, this is a game where you play a escapee from a concentration camp, and you're a homeless, illegal immigrant trying to not get arrested and killed by the police or thrown back into a concentration camp. So it's a very political game, and it's a game that's like a retro aesthetic. And I'll probably be playing some more Deus Ex Invisible War later on today, which is similar to this game. But anyway, do follow that, and you can follow the Terminus Cyberstar Discord in the link. Finally, I can thank all of these people: Dave, James Wheaton, Mixilla, Mr. Brewer, Belinda Ann Taylor, Kata Kababara, Industrial Robot, Johnny C, Alana Montero, Sean Conlan, Danny Carroll, Eric Wright, JR, Morgan Swampcroft, The Right, Reaver, Tyler Tudhill, Right 455, Matthew Stone, Alexander Roy, Gabriel House, Alfonso De Lazar, Combo Breaker, Lark, Muriel, Skylar Smith, Tim Kabuder, Raph, Taylor, Tiny Earl, Extremely Online Left, Ted, Turlington, Beastcoat, and Danae Paname. I'm sorry if I said your name so fast that you couldn't understand it, but I'm trying to apply for a job doing marketing for Micro Machines, so. Anyways, or doing ads in 1980s radio bits. So, there's that. I'm just kidding. I don't have a teleporter yet. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching. We're not gonna raid because this is YouTube. Until next time, the greatest thing. Until next time, keep your mirror stage polish. Keep your mirror stage polish. Be excellent to each other. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't look at too much chat. Thanks, Mash Casualty. Thanks, Alana Montero, for your support, obviously. Toxic Poop ad, lol, yep. Thanks, Holly, for the modding, of course. Important care work that we all require and often goes unthanked. Thanks, Matthew Stone, also for your support. And Kama, also known as Positive Synergy. We will be back later on today for the Twitch evening time. Probably playing more games and music and less serious talk. But yes, I gotta go eat food, so